Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, August 13, 2025 meeting today. Before we start, I'd like to thank all city staff who have prepared cases on your behalf today. They work very hard to give this a case that we can easily look at and work with. I'd also very much like to thank my fellow board members who volunteer their time every 2 weeks to come down to listen to your cases and vote on them. They're very experienced in what they do. We're unpaid. We serve at the pleasure of the mayor. And with that, Sarah, please explain confirm that city staff and court people are ready to go.
I believe we're all ready. Would you like me to start with the procedures for the meeting?
That would be perfect.
Okay, I'll describe the procedures for today's hybrid meeting. First, for everyone joining us today online, please know that there are two categories of people participating in the Zoom meeting: attendees and panelists. Right now, the only panelists are board members and city staff. If you are an applicant or a member of the public who is interested in a case, please use the raise hand function when the case is announced to let staff know that you would like to speak. There is a ribbon at the bottom of your Zoom screen with a hand icon. Please click this to raise your hand to request a promotion to panelist. You will need to accept the promotion to panelist in order to speak. It may appear temporarily as if you have been disconnected, but don't panic, you will reconnect shortly. If you are joining us via the Zoom app on a smartphone or computer, please change your screen name to reflect your legal name. If you are calling in on a phone number, on a phone line, you cannot adjust your screen name. It appears as your phone number. You can still provide testimony at the appropriate time by raising your hand when the case is called by pressing star, followed by the number 9. At the time of promotion, you must turn on your camera and microphone to be sworn in. Your microphone needs to always be on mute unless you are giving testimony at the appropriate time. The chat box is only for questions about the agenda. Merits of each case are not to be discussed in the chat box. For everyone joining us today in person, please approach the microphone on the podium when it is time to be sworn in for a case. Applicants may be seated at the center desk when the case is announced. Everyone planning to testify must sign in on the sign-in sheet that is near the door where you entered the hearing room. If you are in person, there is no need for you to be in the Zoom meeting as well, and joining the meeting in both manners causes a lot of unnecessary feedback and audio disruptions. All public testimony, both in person and virtual, is subject to the following rules. The BZA secretary or their designated representative will identify you when it is time for you to speak. You must be sworn in under oath to provide testimony. Please provide your full name and address when you are sworn in. Everyone, board members too, city staff, and members of the public need to speak closely and clearly into the microphone. The BZA has set time limits for all testimony during its meeting. These time limits are 15 minutes for staff presentations, 20 minutes for presentations by applicants, 2 minutes for testimony by individuals, and 5 minutes for testimony by persons representing an organization, such as a neighborhood association, HOA, CID, or business association. You may hear an alarm when your allotted time is over. Please be respectful and wrap up your statement once you hear the alarm. We ask that there be no repetitive or irrelevant testimony. If you wish to admit exhibits, you need to have your exhibits, presentations, photos, or maps ready on a jump drive or ready to share on your screen, and email the exhibits if they are admitted to the assigned planner. The Board of Zoning Adjustment may take breaks during the day. These breaks are typically taken around 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3 p.m. and will be announced by the chair. And those are all of our procedures.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Sarah. Before we start to review cases, I'd like to swear in all city staff members who are presenting or testifying today. If you're online, please turn on your cameras and microphone. And if you're in the room here, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Here we go. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
Sarah Copeland, I do.
James Duddy, I do.
Connor Tomlin, I do.
Stephanie Saldari, I do.
Anna Naniski, I do.
Alec Gustafson, I do.
Thank you, everyone. Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you to identify the continuances and or dismissals today.
We have two cases to be continued. The first is docket item number 8, Case CD-BZA 2025-102, a request to approve a variance to the Boulevard and Parkway standards related to setback requirements, plus any other needed variances on about 28.9 acres generally located at 11029 North Euclid Avenue. We request that case be continued to September 10th. And docket item number 13 is case CD-BZA 2025-91, a request to approve multiple variances to accessory structures and gravel standards in an R6 zoning district, plus any additional variances on about 0.36 acres generally located at 5106 North Brighton Place. We request that case also be continued to September 10th.
Perfect. Board members, do I have motions on that? What?
Any public testimony?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Any public testimony on that, on these continuances and or dismissals? Sarah, you seen anything?
We have no hands raised online.
No one's in the audience. Go ahead, Jazz.
On docket item 8, case 102, and on docket item 13, case 91, I move that we continue the cases until our September 10th meeting.
Perfect. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Mixdorf. Please call the roll, Sarah.
Gorence,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Those matters are acted upon. And Sarah, what about the,
Sure. Just a note, not really a continuance, but docket item number 1 requested to be heard at the end of today's agenda. So we will skip that one and go to docket item number 2.
perfect.
Case CD-BZA 2025-48, a request to approve a special exception to an existing fence in an R5 zoning district to permit a fence to be greater than 4 feet in the front yard of the subject site, plus any additional variances on about 0.24 acres generally located at 3725 Tracy Avenue. Connor Tomlin is the staff planner for this case. If you are the applicant or, I do have a hand raised online. The applicant is online. I'm promoting her to panelist. If you're a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
And then we reestablish the quorum.
Oh, yes, thank you. So we have an established quorum, including Ebbets, Hayes, and Meyer. We need to add Mixdorf and Gorence to this quorum. Ms. Mixdorf, have you reviewed the video of the previous hearing on May 28th?
Yes.
And Mr. Gorence, have you reviewed the video of the previous hearing on May 28th? Thank you.
Thank you.
And the applicant is online.
Rosalie, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. Good
Thank-
morning.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the court reporter.
Name is Rosalie Bergler, 3725 Tracy Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri, 64109.
Thank you. There's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 10 that we would like to admit to this docket today. Do you have any questions on those items, and do I have your permission to admit those?
No questions, and I give my permission.
Thank you. Those are admitted. Part of that is a presentation by Connor Tomlin on your case. Connor, take it away.
Okay, today we have docket item 2, CD-BZA 2025-48, located at 3725 Tracy Avenue. The request is a special exception in the amount of 2 feet to the maximum height of a fence in the front yard on the subject site. This is the general location. A closer look outlined in yellow. I'll give a brief refresher as we saw this a few months ago. So you have this fence that you can see here on the left-hand side that exceeds 4 feet in height past the front wall of the home, which is considered the front yard. So it is non-compliant. These are some pictures submitted by the applicant. There's a new image. The first 2 panels have been removed as a request at the previous hearing to be heard again. So the request is a special exception in the amount of 2 feet for the remaining fence in the front yard of the subject site. That is a 50% increase. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated. The fence has existed at this location for at least 9 years on per Doodle Street View. That being said, staff always recommends enforcement of the code requirements and doing things the right way the first time around. At the time this fence would have been constructed, the 4-foot maximum height in the front yard still would have been applicable. The difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as minimizing the height of the fence. As I just mentioned, the applicant had removed the first 2 panels. And I did have a condition in the staff report saying to remove those first 2 panels if the board were to approve it within a certain time frame. I'm seeing that those panels have already been removed. I'm going to request that condition be removed. And that concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions the board may have.
Board members, any questions of Mr. Tomlin? All right, Rosalie, why should we approve this revised request?
At the last meeting, I was given 2 options, either to take the entire fence down to a line of the house by the 2 feet, or to remove the first 2 panels. So I opted to remove the first 2 panels.
All right. Again, I'm trying to determine about how many feet then would that be back to the front of your house that is not in compliance at this point in time?
Okay, so what was removed were about approximately 13 feet.
Okay.
Those first 2 panels. If Connor, if you could go to the Google view,
Yes, let me share
I'll
my
be able to
screen.
answer that question. Each panel is 6 feet. So at our last board meeting, your board meeting, I was given either option A or option B, so I opted for option B. If you zoom into that, you can count the panels that are remaining to where the north fence meets the west fence. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 24 feet would be the approximate.
Right.
And I guess Connor, not all of that 24 feet would be out of compliance.
Right. It's just anything in front of the front wall of the home. That doesn't mean the front of the porch, just the very front wall of the home. From this angle, it's a bit difficult to tell the exact length that might be in front of that front wall, but I don't believe, just visually off of this, it'd be all 4 panels. However, she is the homeowner. She has better knowledge of that.
Right. And there'll be exhibit number 11, your Google Street View. That's not a right part.
It's already in the staff
Oh, it is?
presentation.
Okay, good. Right.
Yep. So that fence that is going in the north to south, the one that is aligned with the house, due to the depth, it might look deeper, but it is along the line of it sets maybe about 3 feet behind the front fascia of the house.
All right. Is the neighbor a little bit happier now or
Well,
not so much?
I don't know.
I don't think she knows who submitted the
Yeah,
case.
the complaint.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. All right, board members, any other questions or comments?
I think what was discussed last time as I rewatched this case as well is this one is slightly different than some other requests we receive where people are wanting to put the entire front of their home behind a 6-foot fence. And since this is only demising between the houses and she pulled it back to have better visibility to that driveway to make it easier for them to back out, I feel like this is a pretty good compromise, especially since it's actually a limited amount of feet in front of the house compared to completely covering it in an opaque fence.
I agree.
Motions, comments?
I'd offer a motion.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Mixdorf.
In case number 48, I move we grant the applicant's request with this revision of the 2 panels removed in accordance with the site plan and staff report.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Meyer. Please call the roll.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved. Thank you for coming for us, Ms. Rosalie. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Connor, for your assistance in this matter.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Next case.
Docket item number 3 is case CD-BZA 2025-87, a request to rehear case CD-BZA 2025-58 for variance C related to a mascot wall sign on about 17.3 acres generally located at 4900 Pittman Road. Anna Naniski is the staff planner for this case. This is a request to rehear, have to be considered by the original quorum, and since we're missing some of those members, we need to add Ms. Mixdorf and Mr. Gorence. So Ms. Mixdorf, you reviewed the original case. That was also on May 28th.
Yes, I did.
And Mr. Gorence, you reviewed the original case.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Hi, on Naniski Development Management Division.
Oh,
as
I'll say,
mentioned-
anyone who, I think the applicant is online, anyone else who would like to speak on this case, raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium. We have several people being promoted to panelist.
Okay.
Okay, while they get admitted, so like logistically, yes, I am handling the case, but procedurally, the applicant team needs to advocate for why they're requesting the rehearing, whether or not they have good cause or new information for the
Correct, new
board
information.
to review the denied variance.
So we have Lee Mendenhall, who is the applicant, as well as Josh Husted, Patrick Thompson, and Sandy Cochran. You all could turn on your cameras and microphones to be sworn in.
We got everybody?
I believe
I
so.
heard Lee and Josh. I didn't hear was it Andy? Another person?
Patrick Thompson and Sandy Cochran.
All right, everyone. I see pictures. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. And was there a lady over here, some people over here behind you that were?
I think they were conversing about something separate.
Okay, never mind. So again, the swearing to the oath, do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state I do, along with your name and address. Let's start with Lee first.
Do you want home address or business address?
Don't care.
Oh, okay. Lee Mendenhall, home address 624 South National Drive, Parkville, Missouri. And I do.
Thank you. Josh?
Josh Husted, 6608 Raytown Road, Raytown, Missouri, 64133. I do.
Thank you. Let's keep on going. I think it was Andy and Sandy. Is that right?
Patrick Thompson.
Oh, Patrick?
I'm Patrick Thompson, 6122 West 86th Terrace, Overland Park, Kansas. I do.
Thank
And
you.
Sandy Cochran.
Sandy?
Sandy Cochran, 413 Northwest Whitlock Drive, Lee Summit, Missouri. And I do.
Thank you. Anyone, is that everybody,
okay.
Sarah? Okay. Who's going to be speaking on behalf of the case today?
I think Patrick's going to lead it for us.
Okay, great. So Patrick, we heard this case before.
Right.
What is the new information that we did not have before, that you did not have before, that would justify us rehearing the case?
So we've sent in additional renders and site plans and site photos showing what the impact of the sign might be, and I'll also let Cindy and Josh chime in also, since they have Josh has a with the district and has stake in this, but as far as the additional info, we wanted to show just how much of a minimal impact to the surrounding neighborhood and to the street that the new signage would have.
Why didn't you have that before, Patrick?
Well, we had some of the posts. We weren't sure that not having like the rendered mock-up of or as detailed mock-up would be sufficient. So we wanted to just give a much more in-depth info for it.
All right. Josh or Sandy, you want to further comment on why this information was not available, or you have other new information that was not available before, sir?
Yes, sir. So
There's-
my name's
Go
Josh.
ahead, Jeff.
See, I'm jump in real quick. My name's Josh. I'm the executive director of operations for Raytown Schools. I was letting my architectural team handle this until we hit some roadblocks. My main thing with this is we have several schools that are within Kansas City and Raytown, and to have parity between buildings is the reason that I asked them to ask this to come back up again. As you'll see when Patrick shows, there's minimal impact. I think when you look at the reason that the code is in place, and then what we're attempting to do as far as school spirit and parity between buildings by just simply putting a Blue Jay sign that will have little to no impact. Is the reason that I asked them to come forward with this again. The other thing is, as you guys are well aware, Kansas City, this is just one school that we have. Kansas City, Missouri just passed a $400 million bond. There is going to be much more coming down your guys' way with signage, with murals, with different things that schools are going to want to do to show school spirit and engage the community and make the buildings welcoming to students and staff and stakeholders within the community.
So I'll jump in as well, just on the comment as far as information that's included in the revised packet for this appeal. We're just showing other precedent and pertinent information as part of this revised packet. So other schools that are in the Kansas City metro area may not be specifically in Kansas City, Missouri, but are in adjacent areas that are showing similar type of school pride signage, whether or not it's a school mascot or a mural of some type, which is how we're asking this committee to look at this as more of an art mural that is establishing school pride for the school. It's not an advertisement. It's not a billboard. It's not planned to be garish in any way for the surrounding neighborhood. Won't be lit up to offend anyone. We're adjacent to a golf course, for instance. The school is set back substantially from Pittman Road. So we're just asking the committee to look at this in a different light, that this is a public school that is establishing, as Mr. Husted said, parity between schools to allow school pride to be able to take over for that environment and that neighborhood.
All right, thank you for that. As I've said to other people on this case, that information was not available before, Miss Sandy?
I mean, we had it before. We didn't include it in the original packet, but these are site cases and precedent images, as well as just a further deep dive to show you exactly where this building is located and adjacent to the surrounding neighborhood. So it's illustrating that there's a golf course across the street. There are some houses that are to the south of the school, but it's across a large parking lot. So the actual impact to the surrounding neighborhood is not going to be substantial. And as I mentioned, this is not a billboard. This is not an advertisement in any way. It's a way for this school to further identify itself as a neighborhood school, which is the intent.
Right. Okay. Lee, did you want to say anything else? I don't think you've said on this.
We're the sign company and the applicant. I think the big piece that I would say there's not been any opposition from any neighbors, et cetera, any adjacent properties to this at the first hearing, or I believe at this hearing as well too. And then we have some pictures that kind of outline, minimal impact, and that it's really a school spirit opportunity.
All right, board members.
I guess I'm struggling with the new information aspect of it. A site plan and renderings are things that all could have been provided the first time around. I think
Right.
oftentimes when you get new information, I was able to dig into some historical records from 1925 and found out that this was a duplex at that moment in time, something that was not available at that moment in time. And I feel like this additional imagery would have been available. And I think the percentage was like a 2,700% increase in terms of what the sign was looking for. And I am concerned about setting the precedent with other new schools also coming for us with large signs.
What else?
Do we have the sign? Excuse me, do we have a copy of the sign?
It's in the packet, but do you want me to pull it up on the big screen somehow?
Is that considered rehearing things if we're seeing other things?
Good point.
Yes, you should decide to rehear it before you start looking at the exhibits.
Lee, Josh, Patrick, and Sandy, you may recall that one of the other board members who's not here today, her comment was that there was a sign at Rockhurst High School that we turned down a couple years ago, I believe. Again, my timing's not good on that. And it was the same kind of situation. Their wall sign was not facing state line. It was facing a wooded area. But same method. I'm very in sympathy of you're trying to get school spirit, get people rah, rah, rah. But we turned down that case for that reason. And I'm here to report that Rockhurst High School is still in business and still turning out men. So without that big wall sign.
I guess
So-
one of our questions to bring up to this committee is that, you know, it was commented at the last hearing that schools frequently come to this committee with requests for variance on signage, whether or not it's lettering or a picture of a mascot, et cetera. And seeing that you're continually seeing these requests come forward, it's my understanding that this code was written to deter businesses from putting billboards on the sides of their buildings or in front if they're in residential areas. Schools are almost always contained within a residential area on a zoned R lot. So this is something that's probably not going to go away. Has this committee considered, you mentioned the precedent, but these are schools. They're not businesses. They're intended to, elicit a residential type of pride around these communities, and allowing signage helps identify them as such. So I would ask that question of this committee: is that necessarily a bad precedent to allow neighborhood schools to identify themselves and rally around their neighborhoods?
So at risk of getting too much into the details of the case itself, this board doesn't write the zoning code. That's up to the city council. And our job as a board is to interpret or grant, variances and special use permits and other things in certain cases. But the concern here is that with a variance so large, at I believe it was quoted 2,700% increase, there's not that sets a precedent not just for other schools, and perhaps our zoning code should differentiate between schools and other uses, but it doesn't. So we're interpreting it as 2,700% increase, whether it's a school or a business or what have you, because that's the way our code's written. But with that said, I think my fellow board members make a pretty good point that I don't see substantially new evidence that would warrant rehearing this case.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
And this is related, but if enough schools feel that these ordinances should be changed and the zoning needs to be modified, that's a great opportunity to have conversations with your city council members and work to push that through, because then we could look at the code, however it may be revised and it's written, but at this moment in time, this is how it's stated, and as Mr. Hayes stated, that's what we have to review against.
And board members, as I recall, they still have a mascot sign there. They still have identification of that school, as I recall. I may not recall as much, but Lee, is that right?
I do not believe that's true. We have lettering that says Raytown Middle School that is on the canopies. And then the other piece is, yes, the percentage is large, but also, you start with such a small sign that can be put in about 20 square feet, which is, I think what is the current code, which is, minimal. And with the size of a building, it still, is a small percentage of sign space to building that the mascot would take up.
Right. And I'm getting into the weeds of the case and I can't do that. So I'm here to hear new evidence that wasn't here before. And unfortunately, I kind of echo Ms. Mixdorf's comments that that I don't see anything new. At least I'm just one board member, but I don't see anything new here that wasn't available back when we heard the case.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
On docket item 3, case 87, I move that we deny the request to rehear the case.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Mixdorf. Please call the roll.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Thank you for coming before us.
Thank you.
Next case.
Docket item number 4 is case CD-BZA 2025-94. A request to approve a variance to the minimum required parking in an M1-5 district, plus any additional variances on about 0.23 acres, generally located at 258 West 3rd Street. The staff planner for this case is Connor Tomlin. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please be seated at the desk or approach the microphone on the podium, or raise your hand online to be sworn in. We do not have any hands raised online.
The gentleman, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state your name and address for the court reporter.
Scott Genter, 258 West 3rd is the building, 933 Alton Street, Lenexa. I do.
Thank you.
Could you please repeat that into the microphone?
Ready to go.
Scott Genter, 9338 Alton Street. Lenexa is my address, and I do.
My name is Craig Shaw. My office address is 1800 Central Suite 203.
Perfect. Thank you.
I do.
I do. Thank you, Craig. All right. Scott, are you speaking on behalf of the case, or is Mr. Shaw?
I am. Yeah.
Thank you. There's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that we need to admit to hear your case today. Do you have any questions on those exhibits? If not, do I have your permission?
Yeah, I think, go ahead.
Thank you. One of those is a presentation by Mr. Tomlin. Connor, please tell us all about it.
All righty. Today we have docket item number 4, CD-BZA 2025-94, located at 258 West 3rd. This is an M1-5 zoning district. The request is to obtain a variance to off-street parking requirements on the subject site, plus any additional variances as needed. This is the general location of the site. A closer look at the site itself with the Missouri River to the north. The next few slides will be from the applicant submittal. So you have the parcel viewer view here on the left and right. You have an old map of the area as well. And then here on the left, you have the boundary map of the Kansas City Downtown Streetcar TDD, which if you don't know what that is, that's the Downtown Transportation Development District. And then on the right, you have a map of the River Market. You have some images of the structure itself and the interior renovation occurring. I'll allow the applicant to speak more to their project here in just a moment. And then these are just some Google Earth images, it appears, of the subject site. The variance request is a variance of complete deviation to the minimum parking requirements to permit a total of 0 off-street parking spaces on the subject site. Again, that's a complete deviation. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated. This building has existed at this location for many decades, if not more than a century. And while this property is within the streetcar TDD, it does not receive the parking exemption as the zoning and development code. The parking exemptions for this area and 1 block east of their location. Further notes regarding that can be found in the staff report under the variance review criteria. And if you have any questions, I can answer anything about that. This difficulty cannot be obviated through a change of design, as available off-street parking in this area is limited, and the building itself encompasses the entire parcel. And that concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Connor. Board members, questions of Mr. Tomlin?
Connor, I might have missed this, but what's the proposed use here?
So I'll allow them to speak more to that, but my understanding is in our zoning and development code, their use is going to fall under entertainment venue, and it's more of like a digital gallery space that will change week to week or month to month, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll allow the applicant to speak more on their project.
And Connor, quick question again. So if this building were located another block, they'd be in the TTD district?
So
Block east?
yeah, it's in the TD district, but the street car parking exemption only goes to, I believe it's Delaware, which is 1 block east of them. So they do not fall within that exemption.
Right. Right.
Are there, I guess another question.
Sure.
Are there uses for this site where they wouldn't have to have parking?
So really any change of use is going to have to come to current parking requirements of the code. And as you can see, there's really no option for off-street parking specifically on their property. So they would have a difficult time meeting parking requirements for off-street. They also have the option of alternative parking compliance plans. However, they said they looked at those options and those were not very helpful. So
Imagine that's pretty tight in the River Market.
And no grandfathering, right? Because the building's so old?
So generally, we don't use grandfathering as a term. It would be more like the legal non-conforming status. But that being said, any change of use, change of occupancy is going to be forced to come up to current code requirements.
Any other questions, anybody? All right. Either Scott or Craig, why should we grant your request today, sir?
First of all, I'll tell you kind of what we're doing there. And so the building, by that one historical map we found out, is over 100 years old. Takes up the entire parcel. And amazingly to us, it hasn't been changed any. It's the exact same footprint, same entrance, the whole thing. Obviously, the River Market is built up around it. You know, sidewalks, streets. There was a bridge that was recently taken down right next to the building, railroad to the north. So it's all built up around this building that's been there since at least 1909. We are wanting to do what we're calling, it doesn't really fit into any particular labeling, digital viewing gallery kind of thing. So one of my partners is a former special effects director in Hollywood, did Harry Potter movies and Terminator movies. He's creating content that we are displaying on these giant screens. So on the main level, the ceilings are 20 feet high, stone walls, old building. That will be an entire screen on the north wall, 50 feet across, and at the corner, 50 feet down. So this massive screen, and you'll be inside, and there'll be real-time generated content that could be something like If you've seen recently, the Sphere in Vegas is doing a Wizard of Oz thing, and you can be in the Sphere and it feels like you're in the tornado. We're gonna have stuff kind of like that. It's not that exact thing, but imagine a rainstorm and lightning all around you, and you can hear the rain following around you. And then we're gonna have a music component to it. One of my other partner, the three of us, he owns the Green Lady Jazz Bar that's become one of the top jazz bars in the country. So he has access to a lot of musicians. So we're going to have maybe ambient kind of music, but live performances of that to go with the visual thing on the screens. And then our hope is that maybe we will have the opportunity that there will be other places all over the world that people might come in to see this and say, we want to duplicate this, you know, in wherever. So that's the idea of the building. The building is great because it's this awesome old stone building. Then you have the juxtaposition of this cool video thing inside. Unfortunately, like Connor said, there's no room anywhere to add a bench, much less any parking. And we originally thought, and Craig's the architect, we saw that we were in the tax district to be taxing customers for the support of the streetcar, and we moved forward with that. And then we found out, I think we were approved through the city, and then we found out later that they missed the exception to parking by a block. And our understanding was that it was supposed to be an overlay, but anyway, we're in the tax district. We didn't get the exception. So that's where we're at here.
All right.
I don't know, Craig, did you have?
Mr. Shaw, yeah, do you want to speak on that?
In our
In the microphone. Sorry, thank you.
In our initial review of the property, it certainly looked like we were within the streetcar exemption. I think we found maybe one old proposed map that showed that we would be in that parking exemption area. Subsequently, we discovered that we're paying the tax for it. We just don't get the benefit
Right.
by a block.
Right. Scott, how many people do you intend is projected to come to your space on a, let's say, a Friday night or a
I don't
Saturday?
know. I wish thousands, but the building, because of the size, so the building's over 23,000 square feet, but we're using 2 of the levels. So there's 3 levels we're not going to be using. I think just in the square footage stuff that the occupancy numbers for submitted to them is in the 800 to 900 range. I don't think we'll ever have anything like that. I've never been in the business of something like that, but that's the occupancy based on the square footage. I wouldn't anticipate anything like that. I would guess a few hundred on a weekend night. That's kind of John, my partner's experience with his jazz bars. You get a few hundred through on a weekend kind of thing. So
Where are they going to park? I'm just curious.
well, you know, I think there's a couple possibilities. One is having watched his other bars that has no parking on Grand, you know, Uber and shared ride stuff is, I don't know, 50% or half or 60% or whatever. There is right along 3rd Street there. There's about 50, and I know because I walked it and counted. There's about 50 street parking spaces. But then there's a public garage right there on 3rd between Broadway and Delaware. Is it Delaware or Wyandotte? That is a public access parking garage that has about 250 parking spaces that are accessible to anybody. My understanding is, especially at night, even during the day, I've been in there, it's hardly got any cars in it, but at night, there's even fewer. There's a gentleman, George Burt, who's developing 1 block south of us. They also went through this. I actually talked to George, and he's the one who pointed out a lot of these other possibilities. So I
Okay.
think between all of those, there's parking available for people wanting to come and shared rides. That's our hope. So.
All right. Board members, questions?
I think as Connor noted in his staff report that this really cannot be obviated through a change in design, and that's often what we see before a board. If there's another way to go about it, we want to explore those options. And that doesn't really exist, which is why our
Without
board exists.
tearing down that 100-year-old building, yeah.
Don't want to do that. I would offer a motion unless somebody else had other questions.
No, go ahead, Randy.
In case number 94, I move we grant the applicant's request in accordance with site plan and staff report.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Good luck with your project. When are you expecting to open that?
We'd hoped by the end of the year, but sometimes processes take a little
Yeah.
longer than we thought.
Be
And the
curi-
development, to be honest, the development of the video content stuff is slow,
Yeah.
slow going.
Right.
So,
Thank you very much, guys.
thank you.
Good luck. Thank you,
Hunter's
Mr.
been
Shaw.
great,
Good-
by the way, in helping us out through this. So
Thank you.
Don. Appreciate it. Best of luck with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Please call the next case when you're
Docket
ready.
item number 5 is case CD-BZA 2025-100, a request to approve a variance to the maximum size of a monument sign, plus any additional variances on about 1.3 acres generally located at 1001 Locust Street. Connor Tomlin is the staff planner for this case as well. If you are the applicant or member of the public who would like to speak on this case, if you would please raise your hand online or come and be seated at the center desk if you're the applicant, or approach the microphone on the podium if you're a member of the public.
Seen anyone online,
No
Sarah?
hands raised online.
There you go. Bring the microphone. Good morning, gentlemen. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do.
And state your name and address for the court reporter.
Austin Panko, 1001 Locust Street, and I do.
Thank you.
Lee Moore, 1001 Locust Street, Kansas City. I do.
Thank you. Who's speaking on the case today?
I will.
Austin?
Yep.
So there's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that we'd like to admit to hear your case today. Do you have any questions on those exhibits? And if not, do I have your permission to admit those?
You do.
Great, thank you. One is as a presentation from our friend, Mr. Tomlin. Please tell us about it, Connor.
Okay, docket item 5, CD-BZA 2025-100 at 1001 Locust Street, otherwise known as the J.E. Dunn Building around the corner. This is a UR zoning district, a variance request to the maximum size and height of a monument sign, plus any additional variances as needed. This is the general location of the site with a closer look at the site itself. Just for reference, I did a little cropped in version there in the corner of the image to show exactly where the sign is that we're discussing. This is the submitted plan for the sign. Variance request A is a variance of 20.75 square feet to the maximum area of a monument sign to permit a monument sign at a total area of 50.75 square feet on the subject site, which is a 69% change. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated as a monument sign currently exists on the subject site at a size that is sufficient for wayfinding and advertising of the business on the site. However, I'll touch more on that in a moment. The difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as reducing the overall size of the sign or proposed sign to be compliant. And if the concern is visibility to that entrance into J.E. Dunn, there are alternate options that are possible, such as relocating the signage further north or installation of a radial projecting sign on the building for additional visibility. And I have additional notes in that in my staff report under the variance review criteria section. Variance request B is a variance of 2 feet 5 inches to the maximum height of a monument sign to permit a monument sign at a height of 8 feet 5 inches on the subject site. Same thing as before, substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated as monument signs in this area generally appear to be compliant with the requirements, and a monument sign saying at 8 feet 5 inches from the ground would appear quite large compared to the existing signage on the site and as what you see along 10th Street for monument signage. Again, I have additional notes under the variance review criteria. And the difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as minimizing the height of the sign to be the compliant 6 feet from grade. Just a couple extra things I wanted to note regarding the visibility that I was discussing. This is a view from the intersection of 10th and Locust, looking toward the current existing sign. As you can see there through the foliage is where their current sign is. About half of it is blocked by just the building footprint itself, and then that foliage is also there. During the winter, it's a bit more visible. However, as you guys know, about 8 months of the year, we've got full foliage. And the reason I bring this up is because I had mentioned that possibly moving that monument signage to the north side of that entrance. For reference, we would be moving from this red box here to somewhere over here on this grassy area. It's only I don't know, 15-foot difference maybe, but it would increase the visibility and pull it back from that building footprint and potentially allow more visibility to the sign. And then another alternative, excuse my crude drawing here, a radial projecting sign is also an alternative option up there on that corner of the building. To increase visibility, you'd be able to see this all the way down 10th Street as you approach the building, and you'd also likely be able to see it going down Locust as well. That concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions the board may have.
Board members, anything?
The imagery is very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Austin or Lee, tell us why we should grant your request today.
So I think the biggest thing for us, and I think Connor mentioned it at the end of his presentation, is just the visibility of the building from 10th Street, as that's the majority of our traffic comes into that circle drive into the parking garage for the main entrance. Obviously, employees know where they're going, but guests that we have daily in our building don't necessarily have that to recognize the building at the main entrance. So the big thing for us was really extending that sign 2.5 feet to be able to see over the foliage and be able to recognize the building from 10th Street.
Did you give any consideration to some of these alternate proposals? I know you're in the construction business, so I'm sure you have at some point.
Yeah, I think Connor mentioned moving that sign to the other side on the east side. Really, we're just trying to use, so the existing sign sits in a planter bed, and we're trying to utilize that same system to install the new sign, basically.
All right.
I'm only one board member, but I think that you guys have done a great job with the building, the landscaping. I personally don't have an issue with this.
And it's not a big substantial increase as well.
Exactly.
So
I think where I have concerns is there are other options available. And especially if we look at this, I mean, it's only 4 feet tall, which is not huge, but a lot of that overall size too, it's almost 10.5 feet long. A lot of it is just blue, which I know is part of your branding strategy. And aesthetically, it looks great, but it's unnecessary area, if you will. And I think that could reduce the overall variance percentage if it just didn't have that excess blue that is also increasing the overall area of the sign.
yeah, go ahead, please.
I'd just
Lee.
like to add, it also allows us to have our full logo in the sign. With the current sign as thin as it is, it doesn't allow us to have our corporate logo, if that matters at all.
I think my thoughts as one board member is that I don't immediately see hardship or practical difficulty. It seems like there are reasonable alternatives that could be code compliant that would accomplish the goal at hand. Yeah.
Can you explain why you want to go this route rather than the other options that Connor went over?
I know you talked about being in the planter bed and utilizing that existing
Anything else?
structure as one, but
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more being fiscally responsible for what we're doing and trying to utilize the existing structure that we have to support this new sign. And then obviously we go back to 10th Street and the hardship with the line of sight and maybe not recognizing the building to hopefully ease that traffic coming in off of 10th Street.
We have looked at building signage, and again, it's the logo is unique in the way, and you'd have to either make it really small, which wouldn't serve a purpose, or you would cover up glass and offices and windows and that sort of thing. So it's not, the logo is not conducive to putting on the side of the building at that one location Connor presented.
So Austin and Lee, I hear, because I've been on this board for a long time, I hear some opposition to what you're looking for. And in these types of cases, sometimes we'll grant a continuance, because I think if we continue on, I'm not sure this proposal would go through. I'm not sure. I'm just one member, but I'm just listening to other people on the board. So, and Mr. Myers' comment about, could you possibly place it someplace else? Same with me, but I don't know. I'm just one member of the board, but it may be to your benefit to go back to the drawing board, maybe talk to Connor some more and come back in a couple weeks or a month, whenever it's convenient for you. Actually, 2 weeks we're not meeting, but a month from now, and come back. So what's your thoughts?
Or if you want to maintain this design, we can vote on it as is today. That's how you want to proceed as well.
So just to clarify, I've never been through this process
Yeah.
before. So you're proposing an option would be to go back, potentially redesign it, maybe take some of the comments that we've gotten and then come back.
Yes.
Versus having it potentially declined here
Right.
and then have to resubmit, which we saw how that process went earlier. So
Right.
that's the two options if I'm
Yeah.
clear.
You'd have, if you get 2 no votes, your project is not approved.
Okay.
So, so that's why I'm saying maybe you take a continuance for a period of time. You can let us know it's convenient for you to come back, and then we'll rehear the case, so to speak, and see if it's better.
Yeah, so we do that.
All right. All right. So why don't you look at your calendars, gentlemen? I'm trying to get it to my calendar as well. It'd be 2 weeks.
The next meeting is September 10th,
And then the one after that would be,
September 24th.
so do either of those 2 work for you?
September 10th would.
I'm not trying to rush you, but
No. We'd love to, and we're allowed to submit different than exhibits
course.
and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What would
Other
be-
companies, since you're new to this, will come back and maybe with 1 or 2 or 3 different proposals.
Okay.
And that way we have actionable items versus just your one, which you brought to us today. So,
Okay.
Understood. Yeah.
What would be the timing of the resubmittal of information?
Probably August 29th, because that following Tuesday is when my staff report would be due.
Okay. Sounds great.
all right. Board members, do I hear a motion to continue this case to September 10th? Is that the date? Thank you.
So moved.
A motion from Ms. Mixdor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Gorens.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. We'll see you in about a month. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Questions? Feel free to reach out. Sounds good. Thank you, bud.
Yep.
Docket item number 6 is case CD-BZA 2025-89, a request to approve a special exception in an R 0.5 zoning district to permit a fence greater than 4 feet in the front yard of the subject site, plus any additional variances on about 0.11 acres generally located at 817 East Linwood Boulevard. Stephanie Saldari is the staff planner for this case. I have Jason Sadler online that I'm promoting to panelist. Is that your applicant? And Chris
Yes.
Koch is being
Chris, would be
He's Hyde Park, isn't he?
Yeah.
also being promoted to panelist. Anyone else who is interested in speaking on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
See anyone else out there?
Only those 2. So Chris, if you'd please turn on your microphone and camera. Jason's is already on, so they can be sworn in.
There. All right, gentlemen, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state I do and your name and address for the court reporter. Let's go with you first. Go ahead.
Jason Sadler, 4507 Francis Street, Kansas City, Kansas, 66103. And I do.
Thank you. Chris?
Chris Koch, 3927 Harrison Street, and I do.
Thank you. Jason, there is a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that I'd like to admit for your case today. Do I have, no, 1 to 10, excuse me. Do you have any questions on those exhibits, and do I have your permission to admit them?
Yes, you have my permission.
Thank you, Jason. One of that is a presentation by Ms. Saldari on your case. Stephanie, please tell us about it today.
Jason, are you the owner of the property?
I am.
Thank you.
All right, we got docket item number 6, CD-BZA 2025-89. The site is located on 817 East Linwood Boulevard, Zone R-0.5, and the applicant is seeking approval of a special exception to permit a 6-foot fence in the front yard. So the subject site is located in Hyde Park. Highlighted in yellow is the site. And the fence is the red line. So the portion of fence we're talking about today is anything in front of the house over here. Here are some images of that fence from the street. And so this is our special exception request for 2 feet to permit a 6-foot fence on the subject site per approved site plan. This is a 50% increase. Change to the character of the neighborhood is somewhat anticipated. So a similar exception was approved across the street on Linwood Boulevard in 2024. However, the BCA had the applicant reduce it to 5 feet and have some transparency instead of having an opaque 6-foot fence. And then the difficulty could be obviated. The fence height can be reduced to meet the standards, but the privacy and safety concerns can be addressed through landscaping. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of staff?
So on page 10 of the staff report, I assume that is the house that's across the street.
Yeah.
And that was before they have reduced it to 5 foot and added transparency, since that looks like a very solid fence still.
It does look like a very solid fence. I'll have the applicant confirm if that was taken before or after it was approved by the board.
All right. Any other questions of staff? Jason, why should we approve your request today? And I'll get to you, Chris, in just a moment with Hyde Park. Thank you.
Basically, when we were renovating that house, we had lots of problems with people breaking in, even while we were there, just curious people passing down Linwood Boulevard and coming into the house while we were working. And we had hot water heaters stolen while we were there, found a guy in a jail suit, passed out in the kitchen. AC units were stolen multiple times. So basically we just tried to keep the wandering eyes of all the people just walking down the sidewalk that are right in front of the property off the property to try to deter them from coming on to the property, because it was a huge issue. Since we have put that fence up, we've had 0 issues with people coming onto the property. The house is now finished and available to rent, but it's just basically for more privacy. If it was in a neighborhood, I would never think of putting a fence in front of the property. But since it's just Linwood Boulevard and there's so many cars and so many people walking by, we just try to get a little more privacy and try to protect the house a little bit more. And the house across the street, they have not done anything yet to their fence. That picture is still what the house looks like today, I believe. It's still 6-foot fence and just solid fence.
If I may, James Duddy, that the special conditions are being evaluated, has been registered that they have not been met. A compliance case is now open on that case. It is being investigated and will be followed through.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Duddy. So the fence is up.
It is.
Thanks. And that's 6 feet in the front yard. Is that right, Jason? It looks like the gate is what, 4.5 to 5?
I think the gate's probably about 5 foot.
And is there a gate that goes back towards the garage area?
There's no garage. There is another gate to get into the backyard.
Right. And that appears to be 6 feet.
Correct.
And is that past the first part of the house? Is it?
Yeah.
Would that be?
Yeah, that's past the back part of the house. At the back part of the house.
Stephanie, would that a problem for us, that where the gate to the garage is? That's at 6 feet.
Yeah, so anything on the sides or the back of the house can be 6 feet. It's only the front. Anything
Right.
in front of the house has to be 4 feet.
Right.
Can you bring up your site plan with the red outline again of the fence? Okay, yeah. From the perspective of the photo, I was trying to see how far back that
Right.
kind of gate to the parking pad was. Thank you.
Any other questions of Jason? I'd like to hear from.
I'm just curious, did you hire a professional fence company for this?
No, I'm a licensed contractor, and so we did it. We basically just used there was a 5-foot chain link fence that ran around the front of the property. And so we kept the chain link posts and just used brackets to add to that.
This board has given some fence exemptions on transparency, like you'd have with a metal fence, still giving the height, but transparency.
Do we want to hear from?
Yeah, we're here from Chris. Yeah, Chris. Sorry, let's hear from you.
Well, Mr. Chair, Chris Koch, President, Hyde Park Neighborhood Association, pleased to be in front of you again today. And I'm sure you're aware of our stance on the position of the fence. We did submit a notarized letter of opposition. And essentially our position is the same as the case that was across the street, as well as the probably dozen that we've heard over the past 5 or 6 years together here in Hyde Park, and that we do oppose the height variance at full solid zero transparency design. In the past, we were pretty firm on if anything over 4 feet in the front yard was going to be proposed, that it needs to be a metal fence to achieve that full transparency. However, we did make that exception across the street as kind of a compromise with that homeowner to achieve a 5-foot total height, which was a 4-foot full privacy fence, and then a 1-foot addition on top of that with lattice or some sort of other feature achieving 50% transparency. And so the neighborhood takes the same position today, that if a height increase is requested, that we achieve that with transparent options. And then if a full 6-foot tall fence is still required, that is closer to the 80% transparency that was also approved at other locations around Hyde Park. And unfortunately, I know we're in this position today where a fence has already been installed, similar to the case across the street, and that was case CD-BZA 2023-00168, and it's worth noting that that exception was also granted with the stipulation that pretty extensive landscape would be installed and maintained in front of that fence. So if that option is something of interest of the applicant, the neighborhood would be supportive of that from a parity standpoint.
All right. Jason, your comment on that?
So what you're asking for is basically chop it down to, I mean, a lattice on top of the fence wouldn't do us any good, since we're trying to keep those eyes off the property. As far as landscaping, we do have landscaping in front of that fence. We're constantly picking trash out of it, so I wouldn't want to get too crazy with it, but Yeah, I mean, obviously we like the 6-foot fence. We haven't had any problems with crime recently since it's been up, and it's been up for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months probably. But yeah, I mean, ideally we'd like to keep the 6-foot solid fence.
With no transparency through the slats at all.
Right.
We had a case on 63rd Street, Gregory, excuse me, and they took out every other slat to give some transparency. They were allowed to keep the same height, but they had to take out every other slat to get transparency.
Yeah, I mean, we'd rather have to cut it down to 4 feet, replace it as 4-foot fence, than take the slats out. I mean, the whole purpose is just to try to keep people off the property. 4-foot probably wouldn't do that. I could not believe the amount of people that just trespass onto that property daily, when they could get onto it.
So the 4 feet with the 2-foot lattice, I think is, what did we do before?
1 foot.
It's
1 foot?
with 1-foot lattice.
4 foot and 1 foot lattice, that'd give you the 5.
I mean, we'd prefer to just chop it down to 4 foot and do no lattice, just because it's more work, more money, doesn't do anything for what we're trying to achieve. And even then, 4 foot, I mean, a 5-foot chain link fence didn't stop people. So far, a 6-foot opaque fence has.
Are you saying you're willing to do the 4-foot fence?
I would obviously rather keep it at 6 foot how we have it, but
yeah, we're looking into a compromise here. So
right. I mean, a 4 foot wouldn't be a compromise. That's I guess what the code is.
Right, but a 4 foot with a 1 foot of lattice above it would be a compromise.
Yeah, the lattice doesn't really do anything for us.
Understand.
I guess the compromise, if we could keep the gates a little bit taller so we don't have to refabricate them, that would be ideal.
And it's my understanding, Jason, that the garage part, no garage, but the access to the parking pad and back would not have to be redone, I think. Is that correct,
Yeah,
Stephanie?
That's correct. So only anything in front of the house has to be 4 feet.
Yeah,
But-
this gate, but not the gate to the garage.
It's still.
didn't see that.
Mr. Sadler,
Mhm.
just to clarify, the gate that leads to the parking pad, is it in front
Can you share
of
your screen, Stephanie? Yeah.
is it in front of the house, or is it in front of the front face of the house, or is it behind the front face of the house?
It is in front of the house.
And that does not work.
It's these 2 gates.
There's a pedestrian gate, and then there is the gate for the cars.
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't hear that, Jason.
There's a pedestrian gate, that's right in front of basically the sidewalk that leads to the front door, and then there's also the double gate that for the cars that's at the driveway.
If the double gate for the cars in the driveway were behind the front face of the house, you could keep them at 6 feet. If they're in front of the front face of the house, then they've got to be cut down.
Okay, I mean,
it doesn't look like they're in front of the house very much, at least from this picture, but I can't tell.
yeah, they are. It's would it really work to move that those gates back in line with the house, and people would have easy access to the front door. I mean, and there were always people sleeping on that porch, which we're trying to avoid.
All right. So Jason, like the other case before you, one of the cases before you, you can think about it and come back to us in a little bit, or you can amend your, say you're going to cut it down to 4 feet and you're in code. There's a couple different options. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but
Right. I mean, is keeping the gates taller an option? Keeping them at that 5.5 feet? And then cutting everything else down to 4 feet? Just so we don't have to have the framing, the steel redone for that entry gate?
in the entry gate to the front door of the house from the street level, is that what I hear you saying?
To the one for the cars.
Oh, for the cars.
I'm only one board member, but I would just like to see it be consistently meeting the code. I think we see so many of these fence cases where fences are built not to code and then trying to remedy after the fact. And I think the more that we can stick with our code moving forward, hopefully we can try to remedy the number of these that come before us and getting more and more contractors and fence contractors on board with understanding what the code is so you can build it right the first time.
Okay, I guess we'll chop it all down to 4 feet and hope the police actually show up when we call them to get these people off our property.
Well,
We had other options that were offered. If you want to do 4 foot and a 1 foot lattice, this still gives you height, but if that's not something you're interested in, that is acceptable. So
Nah, that won't help us out.
to that end, I'll make a motion on docket item 6, case 89. I move that we deny the request for the special exception.
I hear a motion from Mr. Hayes. Do I have a second?
second,
Second from Ms. Mixdorf.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Opposed. You got to chop it down.
Will do. How long do I have?
That's, you can talk to your staff planner, Stephanie, but
Okay.
The property is currently, does have a notice of violation. With the rendering of the board's decision, that would be 15 days.
okay. Mr. Duddy with codes enforcement says 15 days.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Next case. Oh, wait, it's are we good? Want to go one more? Yeah, one more
Okay.
before we take a break.
Docket item number 7 is case CD-BZA 2025-97, a request to approve a variance to the residential accessory building standards to permit an accessory structure in the front yard, plus any other needed variances in an R6 zoning district on about 0.22 acres generally located at 8527 North Pomona Avenue. Stephanie Saldari is the staff planner for this case. We have a hand raised online. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, if you would please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. Brittany Spears, I'm promoting to panelist online.
Great. Good morning. I'll be right with you. I've got to look at your, just take a second here.
Mr. Chairman, we have, or Vice Chair, sorry, the homeowners brought in additional images they took yesterday that they printed out. So it
Okay.
could be exhibit 11 if you want.
Sure, that'll be great. We'll
I'll
look
bring
at
them.
those in just a second. All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I'll admit those in just a second. All right. So do we have any hands raised, Sarah?
We do have one person online.
Okay. So we'll swear everyone in at one time. So the person online, do we have a name for that person?
Brittany Spears, and her camera and microphone are on.
Or on?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Whitney and,
Brittany.
oh, Brittany, excuse me. Everyone, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state your I do and your name and address. Let's start here at the table.
I do. Shelby Sumner, 8527 North Pomona Avenue.
Thank you.
I do. Celia Sumner, 8527 North Pomona Avenue, Kansas
Thank
City,
you.
Missouri.
Let's keep on going.
I do. Lauren Hassler, 308 Willowwood Street.
And what was your first name again? I'm sorry.
Lauren.
Lauren, thank you. And Brittany?
Yes.
And name it. Yeah, name it, full name and address, please, for the court reporter, and I do or don't.
Brittany Spears, 8523 North Pomona Avenue. I do.
Thank you. Both Lauren, are you here in opposition to this, or are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Okay, Brittany, are you in opposition or in favor of this proposal?
I guess opposition.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. We'll give you a chance to testify here in a minute. Shelby and or Cecilia, there's a list of administrative exhibits associated with your case labeled 1 to 10, and these photos will be number 11. Do you have any issues with us admitting those to hear your case today?
You may admit them.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, well, I'll take those now too, but hearing none. And part of that is a proposal or a presentation by Miss Stephanie. Stephanie, tell us about it.
So we have docket item 7, CD-BZA 2025-97, 8527 North Pomona Avenue, zoned R-6, and the applicant is seeking approval of a variance to the accessory standards to permit an accessory structure in the front yard, plus any other needed variances. The subject site is located on the western edge of the city, west of I-29. Highlighted in yellow here is the subject site. Here is the site plan. So this is the structure in the front yard. It is about 10 feet high and 150 square feet, so it meets those standards, but it is less than 10 feet away from the home and in the front yard. So here are some pictures of the existing structure. And then these are just some curtains for privacy. So there's another angle. This is the inside of it. And then from a different angle, I think this is from the front door. So we have 2 variances today. Variance request A is a variance to the accessory building standards to permit an accessory structure in the front yard per approved site plan. So this is a complete deviation. A change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated. So to staff's knowledge, the nearby houses do not have an accessory structure in their front yard. Can the difficulty be obviated by a change in the sign? So even if the property owners had applied for a permit or contacted city staff, the location of the accessory structure would still need a variance unless it is moved to the rear yard. But after my presentation, I'll let the homeowners explain why they chose to do it in the front yard. So variance request B is a variance of 3.4 feet to the accessory building standards to permit an accessory structure 6.6 feet away from the primary structure on the subject site per approved site plan. This is a 34% decrease. Change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated only because the structure is too close to the primary structure, which is the house, and it is a fire safety issue. The structure can be moved 3.4 feet west, so a little closer to the street to meet that 10-foot separation requirement. And that concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you. Any questions of Ms. Salderi from board members? All right.
Sorry, I do have one question.
Go ahead.
So if this were to be a screened-in porch, it would be attached to the house. We'd still have to have a variance because it would be in the front yard.
So if
They wouldn't have the separation requirement.
if it's attached to the house, it would just have to meet the front setback. So if there's still a lot of houses are built right up to the maximum front setback, but if there's room, it can be built without needing a variance. If it's a porch that's not screened in, so it's only the roof, then they can encroach 10 feet into the front setback.
Thank you.
Do you happen to know what the front setback requirement for this zoning district is?
This is an R-6, so it should be, if my memory is correct, 25% of the lot depth or 25 feet, like between those two numbers.
Pass those photos down. All right. Either Shelby or Cecilia, why should we grant your request today?
Good morning, and I appreciate your consideration. I have chronic pain. I live in chronic pain due to a medical issue, and I have mobility issues as well as extreme migraine headaches. And my neighbor to the south of us has a lot of bright security lights directed toward our home, which trigger my migraines. And we've exacerbated other options, trying to create filter and barrier from that, and to no avail. She is constantly reporting us to the city. We've tried all artificial plants, just a whole bunch of other things, and it's just never good enough. And it's just gotten so bad to the point that now when we enter our driveway, I can't even get out of the car without putting really dark glasses on, and it's just, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right. First of all, my name's Shelby Sumner. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. This is just a little glimpse into what we deal with on the daily. Unfortunately, we're called to live in this world, but not be of this world. And so just because neighbors have completely different belief systems, lifestyles, whatever that is, doesn't mean that you can't conduct yourself as a kind human being to those people that are around you. We have constantly turned the other cheek. We've lived in this community for 38 years. But we're not going to be a doormat for anyone. We've spent thousands and thousands of dollars to try and remediate the situation. I have 7 umbrellas with stands in the back to block the light. I have umbrellas on the side of the house to block the light. We put umbrellas in the front of the house to block the light. We've purchased thousands of dollars in artificial trees. She reported this to the city and said that the artificial tree leaves were blowing into her property and they were clogging her mower. So I won't bore you with the extensive, ridiculous waste of city resources that she uses at her disposal, but it's very unfortunate.
Since we started the structure, she's even attempted to install a makeshift extension of her driveway to become closer to our property. And so I don't know if you can see the walkway that we have in there from the sidewalk to the backyard. But literally their parking spot is right next to the walkway. I mean,
she will park her car perpendicular in her driveway with her
headlight
webcam,
facing our house.
with her webcam, her whatever you call them in the car, a security cam. What are they? Like a dash cam? And she'll point it in our direction. towards our area that we built and also towards our home. We didn't want to construct a fence in the front yard. Again, another cost to us, but they put a fence all the way to the front of the sidewalk, a 4-foot fence. Before we constructed our fence, she had pink, blue, and gray tarps from the front of the fence all the way to the 6-foot fence running all the way down the entire length of that walkway that we created for a nice
eyesore for our entire neighborhood. We had to stare at that for 2 years.
and I can't tell you every single
She didn't
person that
remove
we,
them until we got
yeah.
the stuff delivered to our home for our fence.
And we started staining the pickets. And so anyway, we lived with that for 2 years to have to constantly walk by this tarp city, so to speak. And then and she constantly trespasses, her family trespasses. We've had to come to court here and be witnesses for the city against them. They kick their pickets of their fence down into our yard. They let their dogs and their kids come into the backyard to get balls. They screw 3.5 to 4-inch screws, deck screws, into the fence pickets, into our area. They protrude 2 to 3 inches. And if we try to walk along that line, we have workers that come, my elderly parents come, we have grandchildren, we have pets, anyone that they're at eye height and also at knee height. And if you're not paying attention or you lose your balance or anything happens, you're going to go into a 2.5 to 3-inch deck screw. When they kick the pickets down, when they put them back up, they go above 6 feet. They just willy-nilly throw them up there and they're like, I don't know, 6.5, so it's like everything we try to do to create community. We did this whole project, meaning the rocks in the front. If you see the picture, we started that with the Colorado River rock, the Aspen River rock during COVID. And so it was almost a 2-year project that we added rock. And so it's kind of come along,
Sit out there and enjoy it without being stared at or gawked or
we used to be
communicated
able
with or anything. It's just,
we used to be able to go out and enjoy our front patio area. We leave dog treats out for our dog walkers. We don't have dogs because we had larger dogs and the 8 to 10 year lifespan was too rough on us. So we have, we've always had cats. So we have cats. And so we leave treats out. And so we like to create a sense of community. And it's like the more we create the sense of community, the more this neighbor to the south tries to just screw it into the ground and just make it just heinous. It's just, it's terrible. So anyway, sorry for the rambling, but it's kind of what we've had to live for. And we've had great experience in that neighborhood for almost
our
30 years.
intention was to build that barrier there to allow her to have the light that she feels that she needs over there and have it not affect us. And so that I can have something to grab onto when I'm navigating my garden and be able to sit in the front yard. I don't even like to sit in my backyard anymore. If we're in the front, they go in the front. If we're in the back, they go in the back. And they trespass so much that I don't feel safe. I want to be in front. I miss my neighborhood and I miss my dog walkers, and it's just sad.
Right. Lauren, let's hear from you.
But I just wanted to make a statement that over the past many years, over 5 years, my parents have endured harassment and bullying from their neighbors to the south. Their front and backyards once were a place of peace and comfort, and now they've been overshadowed by repeated incidents that have disrupted their ability to enjoy their front and backyards. Despite these challenges, they've consistently chosen patience and civility, doing their best to maintain harmony and turn the other cheek. The structure in the front has been a source of relief, kind of providing a barrier against the intrusive light and noise pollution, triggering my mother's migraines. So this measure has helped them preserve a small degree of tranquility in a relentless, stressful situation. It's deeply troubling to witness the visible decline in their health and spirit as a result of this prolonged conflict. I can see it in their eyes. I can see it in their health. They're physically worn down, and the situation, has already imposed a significant financial strain, costing them thousands of dollars, as they've already, reiterated. So requiring the removal of this structure would not only further jeopardize their physical and emotional well-being, but it would place in further unnecessary, financial burden on them. So I just, wanted to respectfully ask that you allow the structure to remain as its reasonable and necessary accommodation to help my parents reclaim their comfort of their front yard.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Lauren.
you.
I have one more thing to say.
Sure.
We also have two autistic adult children. Our youngest had to find a different place to live because she was so traumatized by the ongoings of this over the last 5 years. And neither one of them feel comfortable coming home. And as a mama, that's really hard.
Understand. All right, let's hear from Miss Brittany, and then we'll entertain questions from the board to everybody. Miss Brittany,
Yes.
you're on. What would you like to say on this matter?
So first off, I'm not sure how much of this pertains to this zoning case or not. I don't want to take up too much of your time. The Sumners actually have been aggressors towards a lot of the problems that we've had for many years. We've had to deal with the police, with harassment from their children. We have it on video. What I wanted to say is they filed recently a protection of order because they wanted to have proof that we've done anything wrong so that they could keep the structure up. And the judge denied both of their ex parte temporary protection order cases. We do have a further court date on September 2nd where we will bring a lot of this to court because it has been both cited. Secondly, I just wanted to say that as far as the actual structure, we had actually, put up the fence to keep the balls out of their yard and then planted some trees that will grow as a barrier, but they are not the fastest growing trees. So we're trying to put up some kind of shrubbery because they pop my children's balls and scream at them when they're playing in the front and play music 24 hours a day. All of this is going to be in the judgmental case against the protection order, but this isn't necessarily pertaining to this. But just so that it's clear, I want it on record. They were denied that because they didn't have enough evidence that we do anything wrong. The lights that they are pertaining to about this case is we have one in the backyard to light up the backyard and one in the front to light up the front. My husband drives trucks at night and he's hardly ever home. So I'm a single mom at home a lot of the time at night with my children. The neighbor on the other side of me, who most of us in the neighborhood get along, except with the Sumners, has actually thanked me for putting up the light because she's also home alone at night a lot and it makes her feel more secure. They're just simple security lights. They are for code. They've tried to turn us in multiple times to the city and they're just not that bright. The problem is that the Sumners like to sit out in their front yard and they like to do that at night, which is fine. We shut our shades. We want nothing to do with it. The lights are not encroaching onto their property. We have video evidence of that, and their house faces west. So they actually have no windows towards the side of their house, which any of these lights, which are just pointed down onto our property, have. And the city hasn't been able to, they don't want to do anything about it, even though they've called and they've tried. They were like, these are fine. These are what they're for. They just upsets them, which I can understand. However, the backyard is usually where you have your privacy, which they built a new deck. They have plenty of space back there to do this. They just choose to do it in the front and they're upset that we have lights, but we feel uncomfortable as Mr. Sumner has been seen late at night towards our fence, messing with things, and we're unable to see if he's trying to encroach our property or trespassing, which makes us nervous. We want to be able to make sure nobody's over there, him or anybody else, on the property because it's scary. My children are afraid of him. My children are afraid
Thank you,
of
Miss
her. They
Brittany.
yell.
That's you've exceeded your time limit, but thank you for your comments on this case.
Sure. Oh, I just wanted to say we don't have a problem with it. Our only concern was there's a fire pit in the middle and the curtains are so long that we were just afraid it was going to catch fire. Other than that, we have no objections to it at all. We actually like it.
And thank you.
There's no fire pit.
There's no fire.
Board members, questions of the applicant?
Do you have a back porch?
A what?
Do you have a back porch?
A back porch. I do. I can't set foot outside my either door, the front door or the back door without being affected by their lights.
I have a question for city staff, not the applicant, regarding lighting. I know we're talking about the structure in particular, but I know there are foot candle requirements in commercial zoned areas. Do foot candle requirements also apply in a residential district?
I know that you can't have more than 1 foot candle over the property line. So in
What
this case, it would be
what would be the procedure if there were some sort of complaint for light spillover? Is there a
Residential lighting spillover is handled by neighborhood preservation. There would be a complaint to be filed and followed up through neighborhood preservation.
so they could go to 311 and
Correct.
report to neighborhood specifically, and they would remediate through there?
Correct.
Okay.
You have done that, correct?
Many
Yes,
times.
we have.
And I don't know that any city has come and looked at it in the evening hours.
Yeah.
I'll just say,
And the lights are on 24/7 anyway.
I've said this in cases like this recently, but we can do a number of things on this board, but we can't make people be good neighbors to each other.
Correct.
And so beyond the concerns with all the other concerns other than the structure in the front yard is beyond our purview.
Mhm.
And I think as far as accessory structures in the front yard go, we don't generally have a precedent for approving those. It's a little bit different, which is why Board Member McStorff I was asking about this. It's a little bit different if it's an attached like porch, because then it's a different type of variance. It's like a front setback variance, which is a little easier for, at least as one board member, easier for us to approve. But as for a detached structure in the front yard, I, as one board member, would be hesitant to approve that.
Have you considered other attachment methodologies? I know you've already spent the money to build this, but have you considered something that a screened porch is attached to the front to kind of accommodate these same types of outdoor spaces?
We just wanted to be able to do it as minimally as possible. So basically it's just 4x4s and the curtains are what protect me from the light. And the other part of the structure is short, and the handrails for my mobility issues to be able to navigate my front yard. As far as the front versus the back, we do want to be able to be in the front with our community so that we have witnesses to see the ongoings of the harassment that we have endured from them.
I'd just like to add one thing. I believe the way the real estate works is that we all have, when we own property and homes, we have a right to quiet enjoyment. Whether it's in the front, the side, the back, the roof, the ground, whatever it might be. And all we're asking is to be able to enjoy our home that we built and
My turn.
a sense of community. And you know, when you have people who are kicking pickets down and coming onto your property and have been trespassed by the police and have been trespassed by you, and they continually break all the rules, all the laws, we like to be in the front yard, and we don't want to not be in the front yard because we have people that are like this. And so being in the front yard will add a barrier of protection to us with the structure, because not only will people be able to see, because we do have a lot of foot traffic through the neighborhood, but you, Ms. Mixdorf, you mentioned something about the candle lighting situation, like candle light measurement
Foot
per.
candles. Mhm.
Okay. So in one of those examples, there's a fluorescent neon demon light that's in her bedroom window that faces our property. Like a great song says, you got to choose. You're going to serve somebody. Bob Dylan had a great song. We didn't need for her to put up a devil light in her window to understand who she was serving. It was obvious, but her light that comes on when she sees us step foot in the yard, the light comes on, whether it's day or night. It's extremely bright. You can see it from a street over to the east on North Road Avenue. And you can see it all the way from the corner of 86th and Pomona from the corner. So this is a reason why we were requesting the variance for the height, so that we could block the light that is being done. And whenever we try to do something in the back or the front, she raises her solar light that is LED higher so it can come and project onto us. It's just everything.
Mr. Hayes said it exactly. We can vote on variances for various things, but we can't make neighbors get along.
Agreed.
And so I'm just one board member. You may have cause for doing some of these things, but the accessory structure needs to be in the backyard, not in the front, in my humble opinion.
Side yard.
I understand.
Side yard. We can put it next to the house.
Well,
Needs to be 10 feet away from the house. So
it
it
could
can
be
fire.
Yeah, it's fire code. So if you want to put it in the side yard, it needs to be 10 feet away from the house and then 1.5 feet away from the
Not
property.
enclosed. If it's not enclosed,
Either if it's detached.
it needs to be 10 feet from the property.
Yeah, unless you make an addition, like a screening.
So what's the difference in a 4x4 that goes up 10 feet and a chain link fence or a wood fence that's within 10 feet of the property?
The fence is not considered a structure. It's just a divider.
So,
Because it's not occupiable.
right. So, I don't know what to tell you.
As someone who loves to hang out on my front porch, I got a front porch, and I much prefer it over my back porch. So I get it. This isn't a front porch; it's a detached structure, and if we were to approve this variance, it would set a precedent of putting things like a shed in the front yard or things like that, where basically our code prevents putting buildings in the front yard, and that's essentially what this code is what this structure is seen as. And as I said, it'd be different if it was some sort of detached porch. I mean, some sort of attached porch or something. You would probably still need a variance, but a different type. But it wouldn't be the type that would set this precedent of putting buildings in the front yard.
So, are you saying that I can't even have my handrails there to help me navigate my front area?
If it's just a handrail, that should be fine. It's just the actual structure that you can occupy. Like if you do handrails by the stairs, that would be.
Well, it's handrails up from the sidewalk into the home and then around to the backyard. I mean, that's what the whole,
Mhm. Yeah, that would.
the shape
would
of
you mind pulling up
the shape of the,
Do we have a definition of a structure in the code?
We do have a definition of structure.
yeah, what is
Picture
the
of the front,
definition of the
where the
structure?
rocks are? So we
Um,
can see where from the sidewalk, where if we took, so what I hear you saying is that if we took
That-
the
that-
4x4s that are going up
mhm.
9 to 10 feet. If those were to come down and we just used the balusters along with the 4x4 or the 2x4s that are in that structure on the other side, you
Like
can't really see.
these
Yeah, see the
ones?
balusters that are there like you see.
So yeah, that's that first picture, and the picture right there doesn't show the balusters with the handrail because we stopped
Yeah,
project and we hadn't gotten to the handrails from that to the sidewalk. So that was what it was see there, you can see the handrails.
there it is.
And so the stepping stones on the right, which is by the property line over there, we were going to do the handrails over on this side by the car up to, and then go through that way, around to the backyard, so we wouldn't have to be so close to their area. And then we just extended the handrail posts that we were attaching higher just to hold the curtains, that's all.
So the definition of structure is anything constructed or erected that requires location on the ground and that is attached to something having a location on the ground, including but not limited to advertising signs, but exclusive of customary fences or boundary or retaining walls. So the height and the curtain enclosing this is what is triggering it as a structure. We would probably not consider handrails themselves a structure, because they would not be enclosed.
Okay, so if we were to bring the height of the 4x4s down to meet, what level would be acceptable to the board? And bring it, you want it brought back away from the house?
I would say if you were to lower the height here, you potentially could be constructing something that would be considered a fence. And so we would want it to be no higher than 4 feet tall
Okay.
in
and-
front of the house.
Okay. Okay, so as long as our balusters and our 2x4s that run horizontal are no higher than 4 feet, then we could go from the sidewalk all the way around the patio area and around to the side of the house.
Sounds that way.
For handrails, I mean, again,
Yeah,
you could not enclose it with a curtain because then it's considered a structure.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
So
But
do you
it,
have any suggestions
if you
for,
wanna-
for filtering the light?
if you want to rework it to have some sort of front porch situation going on, you might just want to talk to staff to figure out the details of what it would be classified and if any variances are needed. However, the case in front of us that we've got that we have to vote on is whether or not there's going to be an accessory structure in the front yard.
So if we eliminate the 4x4s to 4 feet, it's no longer a structure without curtain.
It sounds that way, but again, you'd want to talk to Stephanie or someone on city staff
Okay.
on that. Again, Mr. Hayes is exactly right. We're
Got it.
voting today on the structure as defined
Got
by
it.
the city code.
Okay.
So with that in mind,
I'll make a motion.
thank you.
On docket item 7, case 97, I move that we deny the requested variances.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Mixdorf. Go ahead.
Gorence, Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Hope you can get along better with your neighbors.
For the record, we're going to cut the 4x4s down to 4 feet and proceed full steam ahead. Thank you for your time.
Coordinate with city staff to make sure
Right.
everything is.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a
Appreciate it.
break. We'll be back in 15 minutes. We'll be back at
11:10.
11:10. Thank you.
All your help.
All right, away we go.
Yeah, but
I'll send you the picture. Yeah.
It's hard to get up. Thank you, Mr. Duddy, as usual.
Mr. Duddy, thank you for all your help. We appreciate it. Thank you. Staff and volunteers, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wait, do we wait? We good, Sarah?
Good.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back after the quick break here. Sarah, please call the next case. I think it's number 9.
Yes, docket item number 9 is case CD-BZA 2025-95, a request to approve a variance to the residential lot and building standards to permit a smaller rear setback, plus any other needed variances in an R 1.5 zoning district on about 0.21 acres, generally located at 4911 Hawker Road. Stephanie Saldari is the staff planner for this case. If you're the applicant, we have Michelle Dawson is the owner online. I'm going to promote to panelist for the applicant. Anyone else who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or come to the microphone at the podium to be sworn in.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dawson.
Thanks.
One.
Yes, there are no other hands raised online.
Thank you. Hello, Miss Michelle. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state I do, along with your name and address.
I do. Michelle Dawson, 8401 Blue Parkway Drive, Suite 201.
Thank you. Ms. Dawson, there is a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that we would like to admit to hear your case today. First, do you have any questions on those? And if not, do I have your permission to admit them?
No questions, you can admit.
Thank you so much. Those are admitted. Part of that is a presentation by Miss Stephanie, the planner on your case. Stephanie, please tell us about it.
All right, we got docket item number 9, CD-BZA 2025-95, located on 4911 Hawker Road, zone R-1.5, and the applicant seeks to obtain the variance to the setback standards to permit a smaller rear setback, plus any other needed variances to build a single-family house on the subject site. All right, so the subject site is located just south of Independence, east of Raytown. Highlighted in yellow is the subject site. And this is a site plan of the proposed single-family house with the garage, the driveway, garage, and the house. As you can see, there is a front yard, a side yard, and another side yard, but there is no actual rear property line. But I will get into how we basically kind of made a rear property line. So we got 2 variance requests today. So variance request A is a variance of 7.15 feet to the lot and building standards to permit a rear setback of 17.85 feet on the subject site per approved site plan. This is a 28% decrease. A change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated. The adjacent and surrounding lots have approved variances to allow a shorter rear setback. These are variances that were approved in the early 2000s, but the houses never came into fruition, so those all expired. But they have started building, and about 3 of those houses came before you last year. So can the difficulty be obviated by a change in design? So the building could be reduced in size or reoriented to fill in the lot. However, the irregular shape of the lot creates a difficulty to build an average size house. In this house, they are not asking for like a mansion or anything. It's a pretty normal size house. This is just showing those old variance cases around this property. The ones from last year are a little north. And so per the code, if no rear setback is present or rear property line is present, you basically take a line parallel to the front property line that is no less than 10 feet wide. So this is that 10-foot line parallel to that front property line. And so when we measure the house to that line, that gives us that 17.85 feet. So that's what the code instructs in these cases. And then the second variance is a variance of 4 feet to the residential vehicular standards to permit a driveway width of 26 feet on the subject site per approved site plan. So this is an 18% increase. A change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated. So one of the cases from last year, a nearby property was approved for a 25-foot driveway. The width of the driveway could be reduced to 22 feet. So the driveway at the property line is just half inch short of 26 feet. So I just rounded that up. And then it is a little over 22 feet even near the garage. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Stephanie. Board members, any questions of Ms. Soldari? Hearing none. Ms. Dawson, why should we approve your request today?
We had a previous build in the same subdivision, and we continue to build in that subdivision, and all of the lots, because of their odd shape, create some difficulties with the standard setbacks that the city requires now. So we're affordable home developer, and so we're just trying to create homeowners.
All right. Any neighbor opposition? Ms. Dawson?
No, we've actually built, we just completed a build in that same subdivision, so.
Right. Nice looking lot, I will tell you that. Good,
Yeah.
good property. Board members, any other questions, comments?
Have you considered options in your designs to meet the driveway requirement?
Because
Variance
of,
A has I have no issue with that. That's a very unique lot size, but the 22-foot width, can you explain more about how you kind of came to where you're at with your 26 feet?
because of the way that the lot is, it's actually on a corner in the curve of the cul-de-sac. Because we're on the edge, one side of the lot, because we don't have a rear setback, creates the additional length of the driveway that we need. And then the build line is 25 feet opposed to, and there's no sidewalk. So
You're saying, that it is a narrower driveway. I'm seeing in the site plan, it looks like 22 feet, but because it hits at an angle, the
yes,
width at the street is wider than the
correct.
code. Okay.
Any other question, board members? Betty?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Mr. Hayes?
On docket item 9, case 95, I move that we grant the requested variances in accordance with site plan and staff report.
I have a motion by Mr. Hayes. Second from someone?
Second.
Second from Mr. Meyer. Please call the roll.
Gorence,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Good luck with your project, Ms. Dawson. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Docket item number 10 is case CD-BZA 2025-99, a request to approve a variance request to permit gravel on the subject site, plus any other additional variances on about 2.51 acres, generally located at 3820 East 55th Street. Stephanie Saldari is the subject or the staff planner for this case. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. Michael McIntyre is online, and I'm promoting him to panelist.
Great.
Is Christina on there too?
Christina Lewis?
Yeah, she's in the applicant team.
Yes, she is.
Heather?
You have Michael McIntyre. Christina has not, is rejoining now.
Okay, great. And Stephanie, she's with the applicant team?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There are no other hands raised online.
Great. Stephanie and Michael, could you please raise your right hands to be sworn? Not Stephanie, sorry.
Christina.
Christina, sorry. I don't see her picture yet. Is she up
Christina
there?
needs to turn on your camera and microphone, please.
There she is. All right. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. Christina and Michael, do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, say I do or I don't, along with your name and address, please. Michael?
I do. Michael McIntyre, 5570 Santa Fe Drive, Michigan, Kansas.
Good.
I do. Christina Lewis, 4729 Oakwood Drive, Columbia, South Carolina.
Thank you, Christina. Who's speaking on the case? Michael or Christina? Michael?
Michael.
I can go ahead.
Okay, thanks. There's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 10 that we would like to admit to hear your case today. Do you have any questions on those exhibits? And if not, do I have your permission to admit those?
You have my permission to permit those exhibits.
Thank you so much, Michael. Part of that is a presentation by Ms. Saldaria on your case. Stephanie, please tell us about it.
All right, we got docket item number 10, CD-BZA 2025-99, located on 3820 East 55th Street, Zone B3-2. The applicant seeks to gain approval of a variance to the commercial vehicular standards to permit a gravel vehicular area on the subject site, plus any other needed variances. Right, so the subject site is located a little bit north of Swope Park. And the yellow box is the subject site. So this site will go in this clearing over here. In this little box is a communication tower that's not related to the case today. So from Google Street View, these are some pictures of what that site looks like from one angle. And then this is like looking at it from in front of the property. This is the site. And then I zoomed in on the next slide. So basically, so this, the lines and X's indicate the fence. So anything inside the fence will be gravel. And that will be to put these buildings, they will be like fiber huts. So there will be like utility vehicles coming into the site to do service. And then there is a proposed concrete driveway. So we have one variance today. So this is a variance to the non-residential vehicular standards to permit a gravel vehicular use area on the subject site per approved site plan. This is a complete deviation. So a change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated. So to staff's knowledge, most of the nearby properties have paved driveways and pads. Utility vehicles will be working at this site, which can spread loose gravel on 55th Street. Can the difficulty be obviated by a different method? So there will be like utility lines underground, and it is more difficult to break up that concrete to access the utility lines compared to gravel, but the proposed site can be redesigned to have less gravel and a larger paved area for when the vehicles enter and exit the site. The material could also be changed to grass instead of gravel. And that concludes my presentation.
All right.
If they were to proceed with grass, that would still require the concrete approach.
Yeah, so they would still need that driveway. But they could just, if they do grass, they would still need a variance, but it would just keep everything from spilling out into the road.
All right. Mr. McIntyre, why should we grant your request today, sir? Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions more of Ms. Soderi? Michael, why should we grant your request today, sir?
So this request should be granted today because we are proposing a concrete driveway of at least 50 foot in depth to keep any type of gravel from actually entering anything. The gravel itself also helps as a water quality mechanism. We use 3/4 inch clean gravel, so there is no particulates inside of it. So when you're driving around on it, it's not throwing dust or any of that. It's clean. The water goes right through the gravel down to a geogrid and then infiltrates back into the ground. So there's less water going to the stormwater system. It's better for the environment. It also allows us access to those lines much easier. We can dig up the gravel, place new fiber line in from the different boxes and into the future buildings, and then replace that gravel back down. That gravel is only within side of the fenced area. So as a maintenance worker comes in, they're driving over that gravel and just kind of parking and then walking to the access of the building, and then getting back in their truck and exiting. So we don't see any affirmation or any issues to the neighbors or detriments to anything. Having grass inside is more of maintenance. You have to cut it constantly. A lot of times it won't grow as well. So then you just have big mud pits for all your maintenance workers to walk into, and then they're going to track that into the buildings, which we can't have that type of particulate inside of those buildings for the fiber. So that's my case on why we should be allowed the variance for the gravel.
And what kind of buildings are these again, Michael?
These are called fiber regeneration huts. So the easiest way to explain it, like Google Fiber came into Kansas City and other fiber companies are trying to catch up to them, but how fiber has a glass inside and it bounces the laser and information back and forth. And about every 60 miles or so, one of these huts we've figured out need to be placed because there's degradation in the data, and you lose your speeds, you lose your data. So these will take in incoming fiber, reestablish and regenerate the data that's in it and send it back down the line to the next fiber hut or whatever facility or resident.
How often do you see vehicles coming in and out of this area? Is this like 10 times a day, more than that, less than that? Is there a ballpark?
One time a week.
And these buildings don't generate any noise other than maybe air conditioning?
Correct. There's 6 HVAC units on the outside of these 24 by 36 concrete buildings.
Have you had any conversations with the neighbors to the north? Looks like those are all residential homes.
No, we have not had any conversations with those residents. We're trying to place all the huts as far back as possible based off the elevations. We've run noise studies, and at this point, we're not increasing the amount of noise to that property line.
It's not a server farm, obviously, because it's not very big, but server farms can generate a lot of noise, as you may know.
Yes, we're not a server farm or a Bitcoin farm or anything like that.
Right. Okay. And you're using low dust gravel or no dust particulate?
Correct.
Yes, clean gravel, they call it. And the fence around it, is that a 6-foot fence, sir?
It's proposed to be an 8-foot fence with barbed wire on top.
It's in a commercial district, so it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Stephanie.
All of our wheels turning there.
I tried to do that in my house and I wasn't allowed to do it at a 6-foot barbed wire, so keep my children inside. All right,
I'll make a motion.
thank you. Go
On
ahead.
Docket item 10, case 99, I move that we grant the requested variances in accordance with site plan and staff report.
I have a request from Mr. Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Gorence.
Gorence,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved, and I'm sorry your partner didn't get to say much from South Carolina, but thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next is
Docket item number 11 is case CD-BZA 2025-98, a request to approve a special exception to the maximum height of a fence plus any additional variances on about 6.66 acres, generally located at 9700 Grandview Road. Connor Tomlin is the staff planner for this case. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. We have no hands raised online.
thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Sorry, we do have a hand raised online.
Okay.
I'm going to promote Teresa Edens to panelist
It's Eden.
and Sean Handy.
John's with us.
All right, thank you. We got cameras and microphones on for Miss Eden and Mr. Handy yet?
Sean Handy declined to be promoted.
Okay,
Teresa Edens, yes, has her microphone in.
is she part of the
Camera on.
applicant team?
No.
Okay.
Miss
Right.
Edens, you might have a camera cover on because you just appear as a black screen right now. I think
There you go. Good morning.
We're
We're gonna have
one more.
oh.
He's raised his hand now, so I'm
Mr.
Try
Handy
Mr.
has.
Handy again.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll have two people online.
Great. And I see Miss Eden. Do we have Mr. Handy promoted as yet?
Now, Mr. Handy, you need to accept the promotion to panelist. He's in progress.
Good. Once we get everyone, we're sure everyone in, so that's why there's a pause here. There they are.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Handy, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Great. Please, everyone, please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please say, I do, and along with your name and address. Let's start with the
I do. My name's Katie Martinovic. My address is 9415 Knoll Avenue, Prairie Village, and I am the applicant representing NSPJ.
Perfect. Thank you.
I do. Justin Thompson, 4622 Pennsylvania Avenue, Suite 700, Kansas City, Missouri.
Perfect. Miss Eden?
Teresa Edens, 4425 East 107th Terrace, Kansas City, Missouri.
All right. And Mr. Handy?
I do. Sean Handy, 6210 Robert Street, Shawnee, Kansas.
Great. Thank you. Who's speaking on behalf of the applicant?
I am Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Can we confirm that you're the owner of the property?
I'm on here on behalf of the owner, Ken Block.
Do we have an owner consent form?
I sent out the owner consent form numerous times.
I think I'd like to go ahead and hear the case. I'm sure Mr. Block will sign that and get it back to us rather than delaying the case for another month. Could you assure us, Mr. Thompson?
I can
that Mr.
assure you
Block
he will.
do that for us?
Yes.
Thank you. So you have about 5 to 7
I work for
days.
Block Real Estate.
Okay.
So I handle most of his construction, oversee a lot of his construction, overseen a lot of the Oakwood project. So
He's just the owner, I think, of the
several
Oakwood.
entities out there. Yes, this being one of
Okay,
them.
So
yeah.
just eventually you have him sign the consent form.
I
All
will.
right. Mr. Thompson, there is a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 associated with your request today. Do you have your permission to admit those, or do you have any questions on those?
I do have, you have my permission.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
do, and I don't have any questions. Great. Part of that is Mr. Tomlin's presentation to us.
All
Just
right.
tell us about it.
We've got docket number 11, CD-BZA 2025-98, located at 9700 Grandview Road. This is an R5 zoning district. It's a request for a special exception to permit a fence height of 8 feet plus any additional variances as needed. This is the general location of the site, and a closer look at the site outlined in yellow here. This is the site plan. As you can see, there's multiple units here, some for sale, some for rent. If I recall correctly, though, I'll allow Mr. Thompson to speak to that here shortly. This is an image of the Dayton entrance wall. There's one that's similar just south of the site in question today. This is an image of the fence type being requested. This slide is an image of the top image there is just to the south, where the existing golf course is, where that fence already exists. And then this is the site in question, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like some of the fencing may already be up, but this is an old image. So I'll defer to Mr. Thompson to speak to that here in just a moment. Not sure where the variance request up here went, but it is a variance request of 4 feet for the special exception for that fence to exist at 8 feet in height, a 4 foot or 100% change. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated, as the property to the immediate south that is part of this overall plan already has a fence at 8 feet. The reason you're seeing this one before you today for a special exception is because of those units that you saw on the site plan. The fence is going to be between those and the road, so it needs to seek a special exception. The difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as reducing the overall fence height to 4 feet. Reducing the fence height to 4 feet would make it appear significantly shorter than the fencing that exists to the south. However, it would be compliant at 4 feet. And I'm open to any questions that the board may have.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think there's a requirement in your rules and regulations that a person have a signed affidavit to continue. If you would like to talk about options, it might be a good time to go in a closed session.
Or we could have him come back.
Well, essentially what you can do is you can vote to override that rule for this case. But I don't know if you guys want to discuss that in a closed session or not.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session. I've not done that in a while, but related to section 610.021 RSMO.
I don't know if this applies, but he is my father-in-law, so.
I think we still need something signed,
Yeah.
potentially. So if we need to discuss.
Understood.
I'll second that.
Okay, so please call the roll on that motion in second to go to closed session.
Lawrence, Mixdorf.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. We'll be back in just a few minutes. No. Okay. I need a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
No, you got to do the statute.
Oh. Motion to come out of closed session pursuant to section 610.0211 RSMO.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Gorens. Please call the roll.
Gorens.
Aye.
Mixdorf.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. So we're back.
I move that we waive the requirement outlined in Article 5, Section E, on docket item 11, case 98.
Of your rules and regulations, of the
Oh,
BZA's rules and regulations,
Article
correct?
5, Section E of the rules and regulations of the Board of Zoning Adjustment for docket item 11, case number 98.
Perfect. I have a motion.
Second.
Second from Mr. Meyer.
Gorens.
Aye.
Mixdorf.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye.
And
So
that
now-
section, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That section allows us to proceed without the signed affidavit at this moment in time.
You would still like it.
Maybe at the end, maybe.
Okay, well.
We'll make that motion at the time.
Okay.
All right, now that we've covered that paperwork, and we've heard the presentation, Justin or Miss Katie, why should we approve your request? And Miss Eden, we will get to you on the opposition or your comments in a little bit. Thank you.
I think for a couple different reasons. Biggest being security. About 6 weeks ago, we actually had a cart stolen from the property. They went out where this gate will be located in the future. Then about 4 weeks ago, we had about $50,000 worth of inventory stolen out of the pro shop. So anything we can do on property to keep it as secure as possible is kind of the utmost of importance. Two, we really didn't know this was required or that we needed something, this variance approved under our site development, or is our understanding under the site development permit that we'd already approved and been working under, that this was shown at 8 foot. The fence was shown, it was shown as wrought iron, the fence is wrought iron, there is transparency. It's an extension of the fence that was already in place as shown in the top picture in the presentation, just to the south along Grandview. So yeah, those are, I think, the biggest reasons. And then Ken does own property along the street, so he's part of the neighborhood. He owns a property, I think, slightly south of this entrance, and then one, I don't know the exact addresses, but another down at the corner, probably about a half mile down the road. So he's heavily invested in the area and wants everything to be as secure and look as good as possible.
Right. Transparency of fence is always important to this board. So, and wrought iron really makes it nice. Usually it's aluminum. Yeah.
I think I missed this, but what's the use of this property?
I'll allow you to speak in detail on that.
Mixed. It's zoned, I guess, as residential for the cottages and the villas. 2 cottages to date have been built. They are, I don't know if you have a
Main use of the property is a par 3 golf course.
Yeah.
So it's an extension of the main Oakwood golf course. So we have the presentation that was presented to council back in 2002, which this fence was actually specifically included, noting the 8-foot height at that time. So this is something I think everyone's been aware of from the beginning of the property. And so it's mainly a par 3 course with some cottages and villas. They were originally called the Oakwood Villas, and now they're calling them Oakwood Cottages. So they are
the villas may
part of the main club,
Golf and
country
residential.
club. Yeah.
golf. I mean, the 2 cottages are part of the golf experience. Really, the villas may never happen, to be perfectly honest. So it could only be 2 cottages, but yeah, it's golf.
Yeah.
It's an extension of
The fence is currently up now.
It is.
How long has it been there?
Sean is the contractor. He will know probably more exact dates, but off the top of my head, 6 months.
Yes, give or take.
And to be clear, the majority of the fence where the golf courses is up, but where the entrance is not, is a temporary construction gate.
Yeah.
And so that's when it was brought to our attention that we needed to come for this variance when we applied for the permit for that entry monument as part of this ongoing project.
Connor, did city council specifically not grant deviations to chapter 27, or did it happen to be omitted from
Looking,
exhibits, or how did that work?
when I was looking through the ordinance, while the approved plans do have the fence type and height labeled on there, which is where this image came from, the ordinance did not state exemptions to chapter 27 requirements. Whether that was intentional or an oversight, I personally have no idea. But at the end of the day, those exemptions weren't included in the ordinance. So when this came through for permits, whoever was reviewing those plans then said you need to seek a variance and pointed them to our direction.
They said I like the transparency of it and the wrought iron. Very nice for that and the neighborhood, but let's hear what Miss Eden has to say. Miss Eden?
Yes. I am actually spokesperson for the Southern Communities Coalition, which is an umbrella group representing the historic Hickman Mills neighborhoods for almost 5 decades now. Driving Grandview Road through this area has always been like taking a calming country drive until the villas at Oakwood was approved, despite opposition from the neighborhood. The area was previously natural habitat sloping down to the Blue River, but already a large section has been clear cut in order to build a large storage shed, and a fence topped with barbed wire has been put along the road. With this development, much of the natural habitat will be destroyed, displacing countless wild animals. But the building of an oversized 8-foot fence will be especially disrupting to the many deer who frequent the area and a distraction from what has been a calming, serene drive through this area. We ask that you deny the special exception to the maximum height of a fence in favor of keeping as much of the natural beauty and habitat within our city that we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Eden. I appreciate you coming before us today.
I just want to clarify the maintenance building, which was issued under separate permit. That fence that she's talking about was separate permit and approved outside, I believe, under the commercial permit.
And is that construction gate going away, Mr. Thompson, eventually?
If this is, I mean, yes. I don't know if she's referring to the maintenance gate. That's permanent and allowed. But yes, the temporary gate, we'd love to. That's why we applied for this permit and where this fence came into play.
Right.
So yeah, as soon as we have permit, we remove it and put in permanent entry gate, which will look identical to the gates that installed there at Oakwood main entry.
Great. Board members, any other comments or questions? Any other comments?
We've had a lot of fence cases today.
I know we have had a lot of fence cases today. You're right.
But I do feel like
Not on golf courses, though.
no, again, I think this is a different scenario than a residential fence that is opaque adjacent to other neighbors. This is a whole community of spaces adjacent to a golf course with clubhouses and a lot of parking. And I feel like it, again, since it's transparent, it doesn't impose like some of the others have from what we've seen thus far.
I agree.
And Loch Lloyd has similar tall fencing, just FYI.
Okay.
I would offer a motion.
Oh,
unless
sure.
other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Mixdorf.
In docket number 98, I move we grant the applicant's request in accordance with site plan and staff report.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Excuse me, Randy, you might want to.
Oh, with the condition that the affidavit will be signed and returned within 7 days.
It'll be 2 day.
So we have a motion by Ms. Mixdorf. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Meyer. All right, please call the roll.
Gorence, Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Opposed.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved. Thanks for coming before us today.
Thank you all.
for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Eden.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Docket item number 12 is, do you want to, lunch has been delivered. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Docket item number 12 is case CD-BZA 2025-101, a request to approve a special exception for a 6-foot tall fence in an R6 zoning district on about 0.101 acres, generally located at 7201 Washington Street. The staff planner for this case is Alec Gustafson. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, you please raise your hand online. Mitchell Huck, I'm promoting to panelist. Apologies if I mispronounced that. So you have the,
Sarah, do you see anyone else out in the audience on this case?
there's just the one hand raised,
Okay.
and he is online and has his microphone and camera on.
Mitchell, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please say I do or I don't, along with your name and address.
I do. Mitchell Hookie, 7201 Washington Street, Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you. Mitchell, there is a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 10 that we need to admit to hear your case today. Do you have any questions on those? And do we
No,
have
I do
your
not.
and do we have your permission to admit them?
Yes.
Thank you, Mitchell. And part of that is a presentation by Alec on your case.
All right. Well, today we have docket item number 12, CD-BZA 2025-101. This is located at 7201 Washington Street. It's in an R6 zoning district, and it's a request for a special exception for a 6-foot fence on a corner lot in the side and rear yard of the subject site. The site is located in Midtown, and it is bordered along Washington Street, West 72nd Street, and Warner Road, as you can see in the image below. Just some context into what the house currently looks like. We have bushes along the north and east side of the property, bordering the backyard and the area where the fence is proposed to go. I just have a few images from Google Street View that show just the surrounding area, that what we're dealing with. And then here are the plans that are proposed. This is a fence that is being proposed to be 6 foot tall, but along the northern side of the street, abutting 72nd Street, and then rounding around to the garage, where there's a small square. There's a square here that's supposed to be the garage, but then you have the fence that wraps all the way around. This is just a side profile of the fence, the height and the spokes into the ground. This is just a image to show where the fence is proposed. Again, similar image. And it doesn't go all the way to the front of the house. It does not impede on the front setback. It is just in the side yard and the rear yard. These are the materials for the fence. It's 30-inch post depth, 4-foot layer of gravel bedding, 1 foot by 1 inch by 6 inch cedar dog ear. But the variance request is a variance of 2 feet to the height of a fence on a corner lot to permit a 6-foot fence on the subject site per the submitted site plan. Again, it's a 2-foot variance, 50% change. Staff staff says that substantial change to the character of the neighborhood would be anticipated. A substantial change could affect the precedence of leniency on fence heights in this surrounding area, resulting in possibly more properties in the surrounding area with non-conforming fence heights coming before the Board of Zoning Adjustment, as we've kind of seen repeated fence cases recently. The difficulty could be avoided or obviated by removing the change in or making a change in design so that the fence is 4 feet in the side yard of the property, and also potentially maintaining the bushes along the side of the residence. And I know it's for a privacy fence, but 4 feet could work with the bushes that they're already have existing, and we discussed these things in the pre-application meeting. But that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Alec. Appreciate that. He's here today because the side yard is fronting 72nd Street.
Right.
Correct? That's what I thought. Board members, questions of staff? Mitchell, why should we grant your request today?
The main issue of concern is on the side of the house. There is a water spigot, and I think that's the part of this variance that actually comes into play, not so much on the side yard, or in the backyard, but on the side yard. There's been issues of people coming from Warnall, which is just half a block away, and from Quick Trip across the street. The foot traffic there, there's people who have been accessing the water spigot, and in a few cases have left the spigot running. And I would just like something that can prevent access to that area. The bushes are not really doing a good job. They lose all their leaves in the winter time, so then there's really nothing stopping people from getting to that area. And also they are not native to North America or Missouri. So I'd like to, once the fence is built, I'd like to create an area where I could plant some Missouri native shrubs and plants along the sidewalk that would be more beneficial to the local wildlife and the pollinators. The bushes, tried using them for a while, and to very little success. They either grow too large and then it's impeding on the sidewalk, or like I said, the winter months, they don't really do anything, and they don't grow very full. If you can see on the photos, they're kind of just sparse when they grow anyway. So I just like to get rid of them altogether.
Why would a 4-foot fence not achieve the same result of keeping out the people?
Yeah, I'm worried that they're going to see it anyway. And there's been issues of people hopping over fences and just getting into yards anyway. So I'm worried it's not going to really do the job. And if I had something that would physically block them from being able to climb over the fence, that'd be preferable to stop them from turning on the hydrant and running the water.
Mitchell, we had a case a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, on Oak Street, who also wanted a 6-foot fence. There was you could not see through the fence. It wasn't like the fence we just saw a few moments ago that was wrought iron or metal that you could see through. It was also a totally opaque fence. And this board chose not to approve that because it was 6 foot tall. It was on a public street. I'm just one board member. I think 6 foot that you can't see through, totally dense. It just doesn't look good in that Waldo neighborhood, I feel, but I'm just one board member.
Have you considered alternative materials for this location? I know you talked about landscaping as well. So if you had something that was more transparent, if it was aluminum or some, wrought iron that you can see through, have the transparency, get the height associated with it, and then use the landscaping as your visual barrier?
Yeah, I'm worried there aren't really many native bushes that grow to that height that could create a dense foliage like that. I would be open to some kind of other design on the fence where I could remove the pickets to create transparency if that's an issue that the board has.
Is the fence already constructed, sir?
No, sir, it's not been constructed yet.
Thank you for that.
We appreciate permission rather than forgiveness.
Did you consider a metal fence or is that too expensive?
The expense was the main the concern on the metal, and I kind of reached a hybrid method on the design with the galvanized posts. It'll still have 90% of the long-term lifespan of a metal fence, but the wooden pickets seem like they'd fit more into the neighborhood and also aesthetically as well, and cut down on costs.
Well, like I said, I'm just one board member, but the way it's designed right now, where it's solid, you can't see through it. Like I said, I'm opposed to that. I think it sets a barrier for the neighborhood, like the one on Oak Street did a couple weeks ago. So
How far back from the sidewalk would you plan this to be? I see there's, 5 foot for the gate, but I don't see a dimension from the fence itself to the sidewalk.
Are you talking about the sidewalk along 72nd Street?
Yes, yeah, on the north side.
I was planning to set it 36 inches back from the edge of sidewalk to allow if the city to do maintenance, if they need to do maintenance on the sidewalk, and also create a garden bed along the sidewalk.
Have you considered 5 foot as an option at all? Does that still give you the kind of protection and privacy you're after, and obviously difficult to jump over? Or
I
6
would
feet?
consider 5 foot as an option. Yes.
I think this is, again, a little different than some of the other fence cases where it is a corner lot, but it's also adjacent to a commercial area. It's not adjacent to other residential
right.
spaces. And I think knowing if we are set off the sidewalk 3 feet, I think there's at least a pedestrian buffer there, especially with some plantings, that it doesn't feel as imposing as a 6-foot tall fence right on the sidewalk. So I think if it's set back 3 feet, if we could compromise on 5 foot to just drop it a little bit, still give you some of that protection, still give you some of that privacy, but trying to make that pedestrian experience as nice as possible along there would be something I would consider.
What's your thoughts on solid picket or every other picket removed for visibility?
I think if it's 5 foot, I'm less concerned, again, since it is adjacent to this commercial area with high traffic. It is not in the middle of a neighborhood without all these cars. There's a lot of parking lots, as you can see, adjacent. I think we've had other cases in the past that are backing up to commercial spaces where we've been a little more lenient because of those neighboring properties, and they aren't just residential next to residential. And it also looks like this fence it's only being proposed on the north side, correct?
That is correct.
So it's not even surrounding the entire property.
No, but it does loop into the garage. So as you're going west on 72nd Street, you'd have that block of fence looking at you.
Have you had any comments from your neighbors?
My neighbors have empathized. I've had another neighbor dealing with the same issue, and the owner of the commercial building behind me has been in that neighborhood, operating there for 35, 40 years. He's well aware of all the different things that occur there. I mean, they've not gone on. I don't think that none of them have gone on record with the city, but we've discussed it in passing.
Where's the other neighbor that was concerned that is that the one across the street on like 7140, 41, whatever that?
No, they do have a fence, but no, the neighbor that I'm discussing owns the Warnell garage.
Oh yeah,
on
that
the
one.
corner of 72 and Warnell. Yeah.
Right. I'm very familiar with the area, so yeah. So to move the meeting along, it sounds like a 5 foot is about as much as you may get. I'm not sure. So you'd have to amend your request to go to 5 feet. Amend your site plan to that. What do you say to that, Mitchell? Or do you want to think about it and come back?
I'd be open to amending it, and I just want to make sure I'm clear. Does this mean, is this 5 feet on the side yard, or is this 5 feet entirely of the entire fence?
So you can have it 6 feet. Anything that's behind the front, anything that's between the house and the street by code has to be 4 feet.
Okay.
So everything in that range would require a variance.
So I think it would
Understood.
Alec, correct us if we're wrong. The only part that could comply at 6 feet would be the return back to the garage, since it's behind the house.
Correct. Yep.
Did you hear that part, Mitchell?
I did not understand. No, I heard it just now. That was not my understanding. Well, I've mostly been discussing the side yard, but the backyard would be an issue as well, because just privacy concerns with children playing and family, and I don't feel as comfortable having it where where people can see if children are playing in the backyard.
I believe that can be 6 feet on the.
It depends on
okay.
It depends on what you mean by the backyard here. From a code perspective, anything between the face of the house and the property and the street is going to be considered the side yard. So that's
So
pretty
if I
much
understand correctly,
it's pretty much the entire length of this proposed fence.
Okay.
Where it turns south from the corner, I believe that can be
At the house.
At the house.
So it's only maybe 5 or maybe 6 feet or something that could actually be a 6-foot fence without a variance.
Right. That's what his concern. I think he wants to separate the garage, the car repair shop, and his property, if I'm understanding that correctly.
That is correct. I'm trying to, if we're discussing strictly the area behind the house to the back of to the east side of the property, I'd like that area to be 6 feet for privacy concerns and for children. The side of the house is not such an issue with the 6 feet.
On corner lots, the rear yard is defined as the open space on the same lot with the building used as a residence. Between the rear line of the building and that line extended the side property lines of the lot and the rear property line of the lot. So from what you probably consider the rear corner of your house to the eastern property line would be considered part of the rear yard where 6 feet is permitted.
Okay, so it's not the whole plane, not the whole north plane of the house.
It's not the whole north property line. The side, sorry, I lost my place here. The purposes of this subsection, side yard is the open space on the same lot with the building used as a residence between the side wall of the building and the side property line of the lot nearest the street.
So approximately 30 feet of that would require a variance, and then approximately 30 feet of it could be 6 foot by right.
Yes, it looks like about 30 feet would be considered the side yard and would need, where the code limits it to 4 feet, and about 30 feet would be considered rear yard behind the rear corner of the house.
Would you
or
mind
to
sharing?
the east of the rear corner of the house.
So the way that I'm understanding it is from this corner, the northeast corner, extended north to the north property line and back could be 6 feet. And then everything, all these 30 feet from the rear corner along the side property line would have to be 4.
Yes, it is different from how we define side and rear yard in chapter 88.
Okay.
So you'd have a 4-foot fence along this 30 feet and then 6 feet by right, jutting up right at the corner of the house, the garage.
Did you see that, Mitchell?
Yeah, yes, I do. Uh, as
So
I've
be
said
it-
before, that's more of what I had in mind. The 6 feet in the backyard for privacy and something on the side yard to prevent people from accessing the hydrant on the side of the house.
Where exactly is the hydrant located? Is it where you have that west gate?
Not quite. It's about 10 feet to the east of there. If you look at the side profile of the house, the one you just had, you can see those basement windows. It's just to the left of those. You can see the garden hose a little bit. It's a little difficult to see because the garden hose is green, but it's right there where your mouse is.
Would you consider relocating where you're proposing this gate and moving it further east so it encapsulates that water spigot location, but it doesn't protrude up until the chimney?
I've thought of that, but with the basement windows there, it becomes an issue. And also with the chimney there, it makes it easier because of the masonry right there. It makes it a lot easier to tie the fence into the house instead of risking digging a auger pit right next to the foundation of the house. I've run through a few different scenarios, but that seemed to be the best option.
I'm only one board member. My struggle with these types of cases is the majority of the fence is already allowed. And as we start changing these heights, then I think aesthetically it actually degrades the look of a fence in the neighborhood. And I'm not sure we're gaining the value by dropping a foot, which would be valuable. Obviously, you can see better behind it. And transparency is obviously very important to this board. But with over half of it being allowed, it just is kind of a different scenario than some of these other cases.
I'd rather have them do the 5 foot and then stair step up to the 6. We've done that before in a house in the Northland that had issues. I just think 6 foot is way too big in that area. I don't have a problem with it as it stair steps back towards the commercial property, the maintenance garage. But on the side of the house, I'd rather see it 5, personally. All right, we gotta move on.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
On docket item 12, case 101, I move that we grant the requested variance, amending it to be 5 foot instead of 6 foot in accordance with site plan and staff report.
5 foot instead of 6 foot along the entire fence.
The length that we have to
The side yard.
Side yard, okay.
So I have a motion from Mr. Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Meyer.
Gorence,
Aye.
Nixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved, subject to those conditions, and good luck with it. Thank you, Mitchell.
Thank you. Thank you, Alec.
Jumping to case 1.
Docket item number 1 is case CD-BZA 2025-96, a request to approve the relocation of a non-conforming sign per section 88-445-15C on about 0.1 acres generally located at city pin number 11574. Anna Naniski is the staff planner for this case. The applicant is here in person. If there's anyone online who would like to speak to this case, please raise your hand. Or you can approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
Anybody online?
We have no hands raised online.
Good morning, everyone. Do you want to testify? The gentleman behind you, will he be?
That may be the case, so.
Why don't we swear him in? Come on up.
Hey, come to the
Have a
mic.
seat.
Yeah.
Please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state I do along with your address. Please start with the gentleman.
My name's David.
I need to speak
You
into
need
the
to speak into
microphone.
the microphone.
David Hyatt, Outfront Media, 2459 Summit, Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you. Ms. Koch?
I do Roxon with Pulcinelli Law Firm in 900 West 48th
Thank you.
Place.
James McClure, I do Pulcinelli 900 West 48th Place.
Thank you, James. All right. Who's speaking on the case today of the three of you?
I'm just going to make an opening statement and then I'm going to turn it over to Jim, and then David will be available to answer any questions that may be relevant that we need.
So
to
Jim McClure, we've got a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that are associated with your case today. Do you have any problem with us admitting them?
No.
Or any questions on them? I'm guessing not. One of that's a presentation by Miss Anna to your left. Please tell us about the case.
Okay, as mentioned before, this is case CD-BZA 2025-96, and the applicant is seeking to relocate a non-conforming sign, more specifically a billboard sign. This is more of a unique conversation for us all today. We've not done one while I've been here, and I really couldn't figure out the last time the BZA has discussed one of these matters, so we're all in this together. So the site is located sort of in the northeastern portion of Kansas City, Missouri, adjacent to I-70. And this is a close-up of the site. There's I-70 and some railroad tracks. It's also kind of near the USPS like big warehouse distributing facility. And this is another look of the sign, and it's blocking my my text. If you are on Indiana Avenue and you're looking west, that's the billboard in question. And then if you are on I-70, kind of near Truman, looking east, this is the billboard that we are talking about today. So there are lots of other things that need to occur for the BZA to consider the relocation of a billboard sign. It has to be like condemned for public purpose. There are so many signs that need to be, like removed in order to relocate the sign. And all of this is listed here and is detailed in the packet. And all of these items have been satisfied to get us here. But then in that criteria, which is F, is the review criteria associated with what the board considers when considering the relocation of the subject site. And I did take this from the screenshot from MuniCode, but there has been some recent text amendments regarding this, but that does not change the review criteria for the BZA. So the first matter that I'm going to go over is the removal of the proposed sign, and if it's going to have a greater positive impact on the residential neighborhoods and other commercial neighborhoods, that would result in the removal of those other signs. And there's lots of criteria underneath that as well. And yes, all of the signs that are being removed align with one of these factors. The second criteria being that any of the signs that are being removed don't have any notices of abandonment, that they are currently being advertised and being used. And that is also true. And you can see details of that in Table 1 in my staff report. Item 3, which again, talks about them not being abandoned and that they are currently being advertised. Thus, the applicant is seeking to propose the sign. It's roughly 60 or 70 feet from its current location because of some improvements that are occurring at the I-70. So the sign in question was condemned. So they're relocating it around, like I said, 60 to 70 feet away from its current position. There are some conditions attached to this request. These are pulled from the regulations about relocating the sign, just really more informational purposes, that the sign that is being relocated, it's not being enlarged. It's going to stay the exact same size that it is now. If it is externally illuminated or electronic or digital, like it can have those components on it when it gets relocated. This is not an electronic or digital billboard. billboard. It's a regular billboard. As far as we know, it's a static sign. It has two faces. From the information that I have for the outdoor advertisement sign, I do not know if it's externally illuminated or not. But if those features exist, then they can remain, and that the signs listed that they want to remove must be removed before the sign is relocated. There are a few little minor corrections in the staff report, some copy and paste errors and stuff like that, but they don't ultimately affect the analysis that was done to perform to prove that the sign can be relocated from city staff's perspective. And that concludes my staff report. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Board members, any questions of staff? Hearing none, Ms. Koch.
Good afternoon, commissioners. We appreciate your time today. Just want to make just a general overall statement on this particular, the provision that we're seeking to apply to this particular case, and then the case itself. The whole purpose behind this is MoDOT is pursuing improvements to I-70, essentially to kind of straighten out this curve.
Exhibit 10, excuse me, just thank you. Go
Yes.
ahead.
And we'll walk through this in more detail. But globally, again, the condemnation is by MoDOT. In order to accommodate that, they had to initiate a condemnation proceeding to acquire the sign, take it down. I think the public policy, just the big picture of something like this, is to reduce the cost to public entities of having to condemn signs, which have a great value to them, and at the same time benefiting neighborhoods by saying, we'll allow the relocation if you can show us that you're going to remove either an equal number of signs totaling the same face area. And in this case, since you're removing a numerous of signs, you have to go to 125%. So what we'll walk you through is to show you that the signs that we're proposing to be removed are much closer to neighborhoods than this particular sign that's just getting relocated 70 feet. Where this sign is largely an industrial area, really does not affect neighborhoods. It's over 1,000 feet from the closest residential building. And then when you take a look at the other 8 signs, excuse me, that we are proposing for removal, they range from 80 feet to 156 feet, close to the next residential building. So, and the 8 signs that we're proposing to be removed add up to 125% of the face of the sign being relocated. So ultimately, the goal is to achieve, less cost to the public in acquiring and causing the sign to be taken down, just let it be relocated. But then gaining the benefit of removing signs in other locations that have more impact on neighborhoods. So, and we'll walk you through that so you can see each of those signs, but I just wanted to set that stage. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I'll hop into the substance of this. Thank you, Anna. So we're proposing, so here's a map of the sign. So we've got the green arrow on the sign shows the sign that we're proposing to be removed. All of the red arrows show the location of the signs that we're proposing to be removed. We're removing 8 signs with 15 faces. So one of the signs is a single face only. That is our largest billboard that we're giving up, which is a full Bolton board. So that's 14 by 48, which is up here in the northern corner. So again, as staff said, here's a picture of where our current proposed the sign to be relocated is currently located. They're making improvements to the Benton curve. So it would put our existing sign roughly in either the shoulder or that first lane of traffic, which is obviously problematic. So shifting it back slightly would help. Like I said, we're proposing just to slide it back just a little ways. Again, closer in here on that proposed location. Here you can see the general nature of the area. A lot of commercial, a lot of industrial zoning around there. There are some residences nearby. The closest is north of the sign. It's 1,016 feet. And then there's an apartment complex off to the west, which is about 1,023 feet away. So you can see here, these are all the M zoning districts in this area. So there is a significant amount of M zoning I'll note the land area plan for this area also shows this as a future use of industrial, both on our existing location and the 60 feet slide for the proposed sign location. As I said, as staff pointed out, there is an active condemnation proceeding moving forward. So this is just a show of the petition that's filed. Again, just another overlay of where this sign is and where the proposed would be. And so we're just sliding it back out of that area. As staff stated, we have to give up a certain amount of signs to show that to meet the other code requirements, we're proposing to give up 8 signs. And there's the calculation showing the 125% of the square footage of that sign that we're giving up. So to go through the factors of what we need to review here in order to get this approval from you guys, mainly it's 3 factors. 4 is the main question is, what is the betterment to the community? Is it better for the community, more positive to remove those signs from the neighborhood areas, or is it to relocate the sign? Is it more beneficial to remove the sign to be relocated or to remove the other signs in the community? And you can see that by the factors by saying it's a greater positive impact to the community to remove those that are near residential, that are in less intense zoning districts. And then the code says that if you're within 500 feet, it's almost deemed to be an adverse impact to the community. The 4th factor is whether or not there's a scenic impact that you're wanting to try and preserve for either of the cases. So I'll walk you through each one of them, why all of the proposed signs that we are giving up or proposing to give up are in lower, less intense zoning districts. They are all closer to residential properties. And then all of the signs that we're giving up are actually within 500 feet of a residence. So our first sign is here. This is the full billboard, our poster board size billboard, so 14 by 48. It's located in a B3-2 district. This sign is 156 feet to the northern property, which is a residential property. It's the closest one. This is also our furthest billboard from a residential zone property. So all of them are closer than 156 feet. Sign 2 here, this is about 43rd and Prospect. It's in a B3-2 district. It's a double-faced sign. It's junior poster board, so it's 6 foot by 12. Here's another picture. It's about 132 feet from the nearest residential zone property. Sign 3 is also in a B3-2 district. It is double-faced on approximately 78th and Troost. It's 101 feet from the nearest residential property. Sign 4 is also in a B3-2 district. It's double-faced, and just as a point of clarification, the sign that is underneath the billboard that says Harris Garage will also go away. The entire structure here would be removed. So the nearest residence from this is 96 feet from the nearest residential property. Sign 5 is also in a B3-2 district. It's a double-faced sign at approximately 52nd and Prospect. This is 101 feet from the nearest residential property just to the north. Sign 6 is B3-2 as well, double-faced sign at approximately 31st. I don't know the cross street, but it's in a B3-2 district here, and it's 147 feet from the nearest residential. Billboard or signs 7 and 8 are 2 junior poster boards, so 6 foot by 12s. They're tandem right next to each other, double-faced signs in B4-5 zone districts. Both of these are approximately 80 feet from the nearest residentially zoned property. So all of the signs that we're proposing are not only very close to residential property, they're all within 500 feet. So we think it is a great benefit to remove those signs in order to slide this other sign back 60 feet. So again, factors that we're looking at, are we moving it from a less intense zoning district? Yes, we are. Our current property is in M1-5, so we're in an industrial zone property. It is there and would be there with the slide. The area is used and intended that way in the future land use area plan. And all of the signs that we're removing are in a B3-2 or in a B4-5, so a lower district or lower intense use. Here's a sign just kind of showing for you guys, summarizing all the signs and how close they are. So again, for the relocated, we're over 1,000 feet from the nearest residence. And all of our other ones are closer than 150 feet, or sorry, 156 feet. So very close. So we believe that it is a good benefit to the community to remove those signs from those neighborhood areas and allow the billboard to stay in an industrial M1 district. The fourth factor is what is the scenic impact? So I want to show here that there are many other outdoor advertising signs along I-70, especially in this adjoining area. So it's not as though the removal of one to deny this and actually have it come down would remove all of the signs from the area. There are quite a few other ones in this area. So removing it or leaving it wouldn't have a significant impact on the surrounding areas and improve the drive along I-70. Other relevant factors that are coming in, obviously we have a condemnation proceeding. The other factor that Anna was mentioning that has a recent change was that we have this filed within 180 days of the final action. The condemnation proceeding is currently going on, so no final action has been taken. So we did file it within the proper amount of time. All of the signs are in good condition. We don't have any active, they're not blank signs in accordance with the code. They all have active paid advertisements on them. So as we go through and look through the whole checklist of what we need, I think we've got a pretty argument here. We've gotten all the notices out that we were required to get. We've got, good positive impact because we're outside of the residential areas, less intense zoning district. They're not abandoned, they're not blank, and we filed within the 180 days. So happy to take any questions you guys have on the locations or any of the signs we're proposing to remove.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Questions of James or Roxanne?
Our process is just giving them the ability to relocate it. If things need to shift by 5 or 10 feet based on whatever construction is occurring, that gives them the flexibility to do that kind of within those parameters. Or is it, this will be 60 feet defined from the kind of that relocation piece?
Their leeway.
I'm hoping they have like some sort of tolerance built in if the construction adjusts, that we are good on multiple fronts.
We showed it as a kind of an area along that, and so it wasn't that we're saying we're going to put this post sign right here, and that's where it will be located. We've shown it as an area, to hopefully to give that leniency.
Perfect. Okay.
And James and David and Roxanne as well, I really applaud you getting signs out of the neighborhoods. I think that's such a positive thing, especially on the east side where you're pulling them off of. So thank you for that.
Completely agree.
Don't normally have such highly specific review criteria. I'll say that.
Yeah. Right.
Anna, were you looking up if there's any sort of number we needed?
Because it's not super specific.
Okay. I just want to make sure if we were to grant this, that they don't need to come back to us because it needs to be 5 feet further to the northeast or something like that. Just they are given the go ahead to then relocate as needed in that general vicinity.
Yeah, the code says it has to be within 300 feet, so it has to be on the same parcel and within 300 feet. So if there's a number, I guess maybe
You already have some
300, but it's
built-in
not
flexibility there
intent
as
to
well.
be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll make a motion.
perfect.
Docket item 1, case 96. I move that we grant the request in accordance with site plan staff report.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Meyer. Call the roll.
Gorens, Mixdorf,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Thank you very much. Good luck with
Thank
your
you.
project.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
With that,
into my
oops,
drive,
we good?
so I just say-
Yeah, they're just talking about the exhibit.
With that, we're adjourned. See you in a month. No meeting in 2 weeks.
What? We do.
Chance continued.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I had that marked on this other. That's fine.
With the summer board. Thank you, Anna.
Or if I could